Chapter 1156. Lin Tian's voice was not loud, but it spread across the entire ice sea in an instant. In the sky above the ice sea, the cultivators who were attacking the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty turned their heads to look. Then they were all shocked. Lin Tian, someone said. When they saw Lin Tian, the cultivators who were attacking the ice sea, where the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty, was stopped and looked at Lin Tian. For those who hated the great extinguishing divine dynasty to the core, they were grateful that Lin Tian had found the location of the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty and told the world about it. This allowed them to vent the anger that had been building up for a long time. Even though none of them could do anything to the great extinguishing divine dynasty, and rushing here was equivalent to courting death, they were still grateful to Lin Tian. Why? Why did you ask us to leave? Oui. Some of them gritted their teeth and stared at the bottom of the ice sea with hatred in their eyes. Even if we die, we must slash a few times at the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty. My only son, the most outstanding genius of my clan, died at the hands of the great extinguishing divine dynasty 35 years ago. How can I take this lying down? Even if we have to curse the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty, that's good enough. Even if we die, we must let our blood dye the ice sea red. Many of the cultivators' eyes were bloodshot. Lin Tian looked at these people and could understand how they felt. However, he did not show any emotion on his face. This great extinguishing divine dynasty is really hateful, Ling Yun said from the side. Nonsense. This is a real dark organization that kills for profit. Those who were killed had no grudges with the great extinguishing divine dynasty. There was no conflict between them and the great extinguishing divine dynasty. Therefore, how can the hatred between them not be great? How can they not be hated? Whooshing Crocodile sneered. At this moment, the boiling ice sea calmed down for a moment, and the killing sword stopped. Then, a roar that was filled with killing intent and anger came from the bottom of the ice sea. Lin Tian, a roar containing a dense emperor's might caused the ice sea to surge again. Clearly, the big shots of the great extinguishing god dynasty had also discovered Lin Tian. Clang, clang, clang. An ear-piercing sword chime shook the sky. The dense blood swords once again rushed up, breaking through the ice sea surface and slashing towards Lin Tian. This time, the blood swords were many times more terrifying compared to the blood swords sent by the ordinary cultivators. The moment they charged out, they distorted space as they slashed towards Lin Tian. Lin Tian looked down. There was no emotion on his face. He was very calm. Buzz! He stretched out his right hand, and the silver Tao diagram of the 4 divisions appeared in the blink of an eye. It expanded to an incomparably large size and met the dense swords head-on. Instantly, the dense blood swords that had rushed out from the bottom of the ice sea were all annihilated and disappeared without a trace. For a time, the expressions of many people who had come to watch the show at the edge of the outer ice sea changed. So many terrifying killing swords, he suppressed them all so easily, so powerful, too powerful. The cultivators were shocked. At the same time, the other cultivators above the ice sea were also shocked. Previously, the blood swords had been rushing out from the bottom of the ice sea, and none of them could stop them. But now, in the face of even more terrifying killing swords, Lin Tian had suppressed all of them with one hand and destroyed all of them. This kind of strength made their hearts tremble. Lin Tian looked down at the ice sea and said again, "Everyone who does not belong to the great extinguishing god dynasty, please leave immediately." When they heard him say these words for the second time, the expressions of the cultivators near the ice sea changed again. Well, what does he mean? He wants everyone who does not belong to the great extinguishing god dynasty to leave? Why is that? Far away from the edge of the ice sea, many cultivators who had come to watch the show were puzzled. At the same time, above the center of the ice sea, the cultivators who hated the great extinguishing god dynasty shook their heads. We won't leave. We may die. We may be useless, but we won't leave. Even if we die here, we will curse and insult the people of this lineage as much as we want. Even if it's a stupid idea. These people gritted their teeth. They hated the great extinguishing God dynasty too much because their loved ones had been killed. Lin Tian glanced at these people and did not say anything else. The heart sutra of sun vibrated, and golden blood chi surged and broke through the clouds, turning into a gentle force that spread to the side. Bang! 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 Air-piercing sounds rang out one after another. At the center of this ice sea, all the people who hated the great extinguishing God dynasty and were unwilling to leave were all sent flying out of the sky above this ice sea with a gentle force. They landed on the bottom extremely far away. After that, he would throw out the destructive dragon bead that was engraved with the dragon burial array and the great dragon pattern art. If these cultivators stayed in the air above the ice sea, they might be swept into it. Once they were swept into it, there was only one way out. At this time, since these people were unwilling to leave, he could only use force to send them flying. What is he doing? Why? Far away from the edge of the ice sea, the spectating cultivators were puzzled. Lin Tian stood above the center of the ice sea and could naturally hear the voices of these cultivators clearly. He could also feel their puzzled gazes, but he did not care at all. You guys should also leave this place and retreat further away, he said to Yin Yamur, Wuxing Crocodile, and Ling Yun. Yin Yamur and the others knew what Lin Tian was going to do next, so they did not hesitate and immediately retreated far away. In the blink of an eye, only Lin Tian and little Taichu were left in the sky above the ice sea. Quickly report to the two patriarchs. At the same time, kill them. Kill. 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 The ice sea was boiling, and at the bottom, angry roars could be heard. Immediately, the clanging of swords sounded again, and blood swords that were even more terrifying than before rushed up. Among them, there were even energy blood swords that carried a faint emperor's might. Clearly, there were half-step emperors and boundary emperors slashing at the bottom of the sea. Lin Tian snorted. The reincarnation diagram of the monarch's domain appeared, and the great Tao laws merged with it to form the strongest great Tao reincarnation diagram. At the same time, he activated the four-symbol seal and suppressed all the killing light, just like before. At the same time, he looked at the ice sea below and said to little Taichu, "Little guy, open this sea." "Yeah." Little Taichu responded, and the wings on its back flapped. Instantly, six-colored divine light appeared silently, and like a violent tornado, it swept up the entire ice sea, causing the ice sea to rumble. Huge waves rolled out, and the vast ice sea split into two sides in the blink of an eye, revealing a large pitch-black palace below. At a glance, one could see that outside the large pitch-black palace, there were divine patterns and Tao patterns intertwined, protecting the large pitch-black palace within. Strands of shocking chilliness intertwined, as if it was a hell palace. At the same time, there were many figures in the large palace. Some were wearing black robes, some were wearing gray robes, and some were wearing black armor. All of them were holding a blood sword, and their bodies were intertwined with shocking killing intent. "Aren't you afraid of light? I'll let you see the light." Lin Tian stood above the ice sea, looking down at the group of assassins in the great extinguishing divine dynasty's main race with a cold expression. It broke the ice sea in an instant. That little beast, it's too terrifying. Far away from the edge of the ice sea, a group of spectators looked at the little Taichu on Lin Tian's shoulder, and their hearts trembled. Although they knew that the little Taichu was very terrifying and could kill experts in the fourth sky of the Emperor realm, they were still shocked when they saw the little Taichu lift the vast ice sea with a flap of its wings. At the same time, these cultivators stared at the large black palace below the ice sea, and they were shocked, and many of them were trembling. This is the main race of the great extinguishing divine dynasty. So this is what it looks like. What a strong killing intent. Many people's hearts palpitated. At this moment, as the main race of the great extinguishing divine dynasty was completely exposed, and they were no longer covered by the ice sea, the cultivators in this place saw the true appearance of the main race, and many of them could not help but take a few steps back. Lin Tian, below the great extinguishing divine dynasty, there was an angry roar. In this race, several boundary emperors stood on top of a huge palace, and they stared at Lin Tian. Lin Tian looked at these people, and his face was full of mockery and a cold smile. I see hatred in your eyes. I killed your trashy disciples one by one, destroyed your inferior strongholds, killed your trashy divine sons, and your incompetent patriarchs were crushed to death by this little fellow. Do you hate me? Speaking of which, do you have the right to hate me? His voice traveled very far, and the cultivators who were far away from the edge of the ice sea could not help but tremble. Trashy disciples? Inferior strongholds? Trashy divine sons? Even their emperor-level patriarchs were incompetent? These words were too sharp. In the main race of the great extinguishing divine dynasty, the assassins of this race were extremely angry, and they all stared at Lin Tian viciously. This race's assassin master and several other boundary emperors were also doing the same. At this moment, if they did not know that the little Taichu beside Lin Tian was very terrifying and could kill a fourth heaven emperor expert, they would have already charged out. At this moment, a cold snort was heard, and two figures appeared silently in the depths of the great extinguishing divine dynasty's main race. As these two figures appeared, a rolling emperor's aura instantly surged. In this place, even the sky trembled. Patriarchs, the assassin master of the great extinguishing divine dynasty, several boundary emperors, and the other disciples were all delighted, and they bowed towards the two figures. At the same time, the expression of the other cultivators who were far away from the edge of the ice sea changed, and they could not help but tremble. 2 Ninth Heaven Emperors. Chapter 1157. Two figures walked out from the main clan of the great extinguishing god dynasty. They were both old men. One was wearing a black robe, while the other was wearing a blood-red robe. Both of them had terrifying emperor chi intertwined around their bodies. Both of them were at the 9th heaven of the emperor realm. This caused the expressions of the cultivators near the ice sea to change drastically. Many of them could not help but break out in cold sweat as they took a few steps back. The cultivators were shocked. How terrifying were the people at the 9th heaven of the emperor realm. There were very few of them. However, there were two of them in the great extinguishing god dynasty. Whooshing Crocodile squinted his eyes from afar and said, "They are indeed not simple." Lingyan nodded as well. He was shocked by the tyrannical strength of the great extinguishing god dynasty. However, he smiled sinisterly and said, "However, this way, the following scene will be even more interesting to watch. I'm looking forward to the changes in the expressions of the two old men and the other assassins in this branch." Lin Tian stood in the sky above the ice sea and looked down at the two 9th heaven emperors who walked out from the great extinguishing god dynasty. He immediately felt a strong pressure. However, there was no fear on his face. "Yeah." The little Taichu stood on his shoulder and looked down at the two 9th heaven emperors from the great extinguishing god dynasty. The two 9th heaven emperors looked at the little Taichu in the great extinguishing god dynasty's main clan. Their eyes turned cold as they felt that this little guy was not ordinary. However, in the next moment, their eyes turned cold as they looked at Lin Tian. One of them said, "You can live a little longer if you hide. Unfortunately, you are too arrogant." The two 9th heaven emperors stood side by side. They were not in a hurry to attack Lin Tian. Their eyes were deep and cold. Arrogant? Who dares to compare themselves with the great extinguishing god dynasty? You are known to be willing to kill anyone as long as you can afford it. Lin Tian mocked them. The assassins in the great extinguishing god dynasty stared coldly at Lin Tian. Lin Tian was mocking them again. At the same time, the other cultivators near the ice sea couldn't help but shrink their necks. Lin Tian didn't show any fear when facing the two 9th heaven emperors of the great extinguishing divine dynasty. He even mocked the great extinguishing divine dynasty in front of the two Ninth Heaven Emperors. This made these cultivators shudder. Even if he has that mysterious little beast by his side, he shouldn't be able to stop two Ninth Heaven Emperors, right? How dare he do this? Some people swallowed their saliva in confusion. Within the great extinguishing god dynasty's main race, the two Ninth Heaven Emperors had deep gazes and cold expressions. They didn't care about Lin Tian's sarcasm and didn't show any emotion on their faces. It was also at this moment that the space above the IC slightly distorted and trembled. Wisps of hazy blood-red light surrounded it. At the same time, it also contained a faint Emperor's aura. This is sealing the entire space above the IC. Lin Tian, completely sealed. Many experts were startled. At this moment, they all felt that the space above the IC was sealed by an extremely powerful force. They were very clear that the two Ninth Heaven Emperors of the great extinguishing god dynasty were taking action and suppressing this entire heaven and earth. And let's see how you're going to escape today. An important figure in the great extinguishing divine dynasty said viciously. At this moment, many of the assassins in the great extinguishing divine dynasty knew that the two old ancestors of the great extinguishing divine dynasty had made a move to seal this space. With their lineage's two old ancestors being at the ninth heaven of Emperor Realm, once they sealed this space, it would be an absolute seal. Even an eighth heaven of Emperor Realm expert wouldn't be able to escape. Lin Tian stood above the IC and naturally noticed this. However, his expression didn't change. His gaze didn't move, and he didn't care about the space being sealed. He just looked at the two ninth heaven emperors of the great extinguishing divine dynasty indifferently. The two ninth heaven emperors of the great extinguishing divine dynasty looked at Lin Tian with deep and cold eyes. This old man wants to know how you found out the location of the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty. A few months ago, there was an invisible Tao force that entered our dynasty. Was that your doing? The black-robed Shadi looked at Lin Tian and asked. He then shook his head and said, "It shouldn't be. You don't have that level of Tao force. Even ordinary emperors don't have that level of Tao force." He looked at Lin Tian and returned to the original question. Then, how did you find out the location of the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty? A few months ago, there was an invisible Tao force outside the great extinguishing divine dynasty that broke the divine rune seal outside the main clan. The black-robed Shadi felt it at that time and thought that it was related to Lin Tian. However, looking at Lin Tian now, he denied this thought. That level of Tao force wasn't something that the current Lin Tian could possess. Say it. The blood-robed Shadi looked at Lin Tian and said indifferently, like a king giving an order to his subjects. At the same time, the group of assassins in the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty stared at Lin Tian. There were dense divine runes outside the main clan of the great extinguishing divine runes, which were almost isolated from heaven and earth. Every new Shadi would perfect the divine runes and make them stronger. Even a ninth heaven emperor wouldn't be able to find this place. They didn't understand how Lin Tian found out the location of the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty. Lin Tian looked at the two emperors of the great extinguishing divine dynasty and glanced at the group of assassins and said, "You don't need to know." He stood in the sky above the IC and said calmly, like a supreme being overlooking the world. His attitude undoubtedly made the group of assassins in the main clan of the great extinguishing divine dynasty turn cold and murderous. The black-robed Shadi and the blood-robed Shadi didn't change their expressions, and their eyes were still deep. "It's okay. We didn't expect you to tell us the reason. We'll see for ourselves after we suppress you," the two of them said. As soon as they finished speaking, the two of them soared into the sky. Apparently, they were going to attack Lin Tian. For a moment, the space in this place shook. The divine power of a ninth heaven emperor was terrifying. Lin Tian watched the two of them soar into the sky. He was still fearless. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly, revealing a cold smile. "Will it be so easy?" he said. As soon as he finished speaking, he shifted his gaze slightly and looked at the little Taichu on his shoulder. The little Taichu was almost telepathic with him, so it naturally understood what he meant. It immediately propped up its small world and opened a huge crack in the void. As the faint six-colored divine light spread out, the Dragon Ball that was kept in it was released. The Dragon Ball had a diameter of 90 feet. It was covered with intertwining dragon patterns and earth vein killing patterns. It floated above Lin Tian's head like a small star, intertwining with vast spiritual energy waves like the starry sky. At the same time, it was also mixed with a terrifying destructive aura. Immediately, the expressions of everyone present changed. That is, all the cultivators felt their hearts palpitate. At this moment, they could feel how terrifying the dragon pearl above Lin Tian's head was, and they all trembled. The two Ninth Heaven Emperors of the great extinguishing god dynasty stopped in their tracks. At this moment, their expressions changed drastically. You looking at the huge Dragon Ball, even the two Ninth Heaven Emperors felt threatened at this moment. At the same time, all of the important figures and disciples in the main bloodline shuddered violently. Lin Tian stood above the IC and propped up the huge Dragon Ball with the Dragon Burial Scripture. He looked down at the two Ninth Heaven Emperors of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty and the group of assassins in the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty. Do you think that I will barge into your main clan without any preparation? That I'm just here to have fun? He said. In the main clan of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty, the group of assassins trembled again. Previously, when the two Ninth Heaven Emperors of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty walked out, they stared coldly at Lin Tian. At this moment, all of them were terrified. What do you want to do? The black-robed Slaughter Emperor said in a deep voice. Next to him, the blood-robed Slaughter Emperor also said in a deep voice. He stared at Lin Tiandao and said, "Don't do anything rash." Lin Tianchi stood in the sky above the center of the IC, looking down at the two Slaughter Emperors. He didn't seem to have heard their words. He glanced at the two Slaughter Emperors and the other assassins of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty. He squinted his eyes and said, "This is a peerless gift that I've spent several months preparing for the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty. Don't be shy. Just accept it." As he spoke, his mind moved. The Dragon Ball above his head trembled and slowly pressed down on the main clan of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty. In an instant, the space shook violently. As the Dragon Ball pressed down, it shattered with a crack. He came here and prepared such a thing? Where did he find it? Retreat. Retreat quickly. You can't stay here. Outside the IC, a group of cultivators were shocked and fled into the distance. Each and every one of them had a panicked expression. The aura emitted by the Dragon Pearl was simply too terrifying. It was simply like a true source of destruction. The great gift of destruction has finally been delivered. Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun sneered in the distance. Yin Yipper's eyes lit up when she saw Lin Tian pressing down on the main clan of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty with the Dragon Ball. The two of them and the crocodile knew very well what Lin Tian was doing here. Therefore, they had left the area outside the IC a long time ago. At this moment, they were in a very safe position and did not move at all. Rumble! The void buzzed and then twisted. Then it collapsed. The terrifying force seemed to be suppressing the whole world. The two Slayer Emperors of the Great Extermination God Dynasty gritted their teeth and roared in unison. The divine energy of the ninth heaven of the Emperor realm was completely unleashed. At this moment, they faced the Dragon Ball that was pressing down, preventing this Dragon Ball from falling towards their main clan. However, the two of them were quickly shaken. With their current cultivation, they were actually unable to stop the descending momentum of the Dragon Pearl. They worked together to support the Emperor Divine Power to stop it, but they were slowly being pressed down by the Dragon Pearl. How could this be? The two ancestors can't stop it? No, this is impossible. In the main clan of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty, the group of assassins was terrified. Once this Dragon Pearl fell, they would all be finished. Rumble! The void buzzed as the Dragon Ball pressed down slowly. Damn it! Stop it! The two Slaughter Emperors gritted their teeth and roared at this moment. They circulated their ninth heavenly layer Monarch Realm cultivation base to the maximum. Monstrous Monarch aura surged and blocked the descending momentum of the Dragon Pearl 30 feet above the myriad extinguishing God Dynasty's main clan. When we stopped it, in the main clan of the great extinguishing God Dynasty, all the assassins heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 1158. Cold laughter came from Lin Tian's mouth, floating above the ice sea. At the same time, little Taichu took Lin Tian away immediately and soared into the sky. In the next moment, the dragon patterns and murderous veins on the surface of the 19-foot-wide Dragon Ball lit up. The destructive aura that was intertwined with it started to expand instantly. The two Grand Slayers of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty were shocked again. In the main clan of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty, the Grand Slayer of this clan was even more terrified. Set up all the defensive arrays, quick! As soon as he finished speaking, this person and the other important figures of this lineage formed hand seals together. The Great Extinguishing God Dynasty's divine rune defensive array lit up one by one. The defensive light chains linked together and protected the entire Great Extinguishing God Dynasty's main clan. At this moment, the Dragon Ball that was pressed down shook slightly. Boom! A loud sound shook the great world. At this moment, the 19-foot-wide Dragon Ball exploded, and the light shone in all directions. This Dragon Ball was engraved with 72 dragon burial arrays and 180 types of dragon pattern arts. It contained the natural murderous veins of the ancient killing array. As it exploded, the destructive power seemed to have rushed out from hell and swept across all directions. Poof! 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 In the dense light, one could see the blood mist exploding, but no screams could be heard. Boom! At this moment, the void started to shatter. The entire ice sea was boiling, as if it was being burned by the hottest sun. The water source started to evaporate. In just a few breaths, half of the water source in the vast ice sea had evaporated. At this moment, a violent hurricane swept across and spread in all directions. Large areas of the void collapsed again. Bang! 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 Outside the ice sea, many cultivators who had come to watch had already retreated very far away. However, they were still affected by the hurricane. Many cultivators were instantly overturned and rolled even further away. A group of cultivators stared at the ice sea from afar, all trembling. Over there, as far as their eyes could see, everything was collapsing and shattering. All they could feel was destruction. Boom! An intense rumble resounded in all directions. The ice sea boiled, and the light of destruction surged. The entire ground was shattering continuously. The dragon pearl that was nurtured in the ancient trap exploded after Lin Tian engraved 72 dragon burial arrays, 180 dragon mark arts, and most of the killing patterns of the ancient trap. It was equivalent to a peak 6 sky monarch realm experts self-destructing. The power was too horrifying. It looked like the end of the world. Crack! 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 The space crumbled inch by inch, sinking inch by inch. The water source of the ice sea continued to evaporate. In this manner, everything finally calmed down after dozens of breaths had passed. Dust and light covered the surroundings. Lightning arcs that carried a destructive aura crackled. Soon after, the dust and light slowly scattered. As far as the eye could see, more than half of the water source of the ice sea had evaporated. The bottom of the sea had sunk a lot, and there was already boiling lava. The main clan of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty was nowhere to be seen. Far away, Yin-Yer, Wuxing Crocodile, and Ling Yun stood together. Their eyes were flickering. "It's beyond our imagination," Wuxing Crocodile said with his eyes wide open. "It's the real gift of destruction." Ling Yun clenched his fists. Even though they had already predicted the horror of the Dragon Pearl, they were still shocked when they saw it for themselves. At the same time, the other cultivators near the ice sea were trembling. The main clan of the great extinguishing god dynasty is gone? It's destroyed? More than half of the ice sea had evaporated. The bottom of the sea had collapsed, and there was even lava flowing out. In their field of vision, the main clan of the great extinguishing god dynasty was nowhere to be seen. Not even a corpse could be seen. This shocked the cultivators. The cultivators who had rushed here to attack the main clan of the great extinguishing god dynasty and were thrown out of the ice sea by Lin Tian trembled. They were all shocked, and then they were all excited and overjoyed. It's destroyed. This damn clan. It's destroyed. That's great. That's great. It's finally destroyed. These cultivators were all close relatives who had been killed by the great extinguishing god dynasty. Their hatred for the great extinguishing god dynasty was extremely strong. Now that the main clan of the great extinguishing god dynasty was nowhere to be seen, it was obvious that it had been destroyed. The group of assassins had also disappeared in the destructive force. How could these people not be excited? Among them, some of the cultivators looked up at the sky and saw Lin Tian's figure descending from the sky. Lin Tian! Lin Tian! Someone shouted. Of course, it was a shout of excitement and gratitude. Lin Tian had found out about the main clan of the great extinguishing god dynasty and leaked it to the world. Now, he had come here with the Destruction Dragon Ball and destroyed the main clan of the great extinguishing god dynasty. For these people who hated the great extinguishing god dynasty to the core, this was a great favor. Lin Tian slowly descended from the sky. Looking down at the broken ice sea, he narrowed his eyes and scanned the surroundings. Cough! Dry coughs were heard. At the bottom of the ice sea, 2 layers of soil on the ground broke open. 2 withered figures covered in blood stood up. They were the 2 ninth heaven chaotic emperors of the great extinguishing god dynasty. This is the 2 emperors. They're still alive? Many cultivators' expressions changed again. In the distance, whooshing crocodiles sneered. As expected of the 9th heaven of the emperor realm, they won't die so easily. At the bottom of the ice sea, the black-robed and blood-robed emperors of the great extinguishing god dynasty looked around and trembled at the same time. They looked around and saw that their main clan was completely gone. All their disciples were dead, and all their resources were gone. All kinds of divine rune arrays were destroyed. Now, only the 2 of them were left in the entire great extinguishing god dynasty. Bastard! The 2 of them looked up at Lin Tian in the sky. Their old faces were twisted, and they were no longer as cold as they were when they first appeared. Their great extinguishing divine dynasty had existed for a long time. There were many experts in the divine dynasty and countless treasures and resources. It was one of the top forces in the 10 Directions heavenly domain. But now, it was destroyed in the hands of a junior cultivator. Everything was gone, and only the 2 of them survived. Damn it! Damn it! They stared at Lin Tian, going crazy. They all rushed up, pouncing murderously towards Lin Tian, emperor's might sweeping outwards. Crack! 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 The surrounding space shattered, and the killing power was horrifying. Facing the 2 of them, Lin Tian knew that he couldn't withstand their terrifying emperor aura. But he wasn't afraid at all. He didn't even try to dodge. I know that the destructive power is terrifying, but it can't kill the 9th heaven of the emperor realm. But I didn't expect that you 2 still have such powerful combat strength. You're not weaker than the 4th heaven of the emperor realm. He looked at the 2 of them and sneered. But so what? What can you do now? Can you defeat me? After he said that, the little Taichu on his shoulder squeaked. It flapped its wings and created 2 hurricanes. Puff! Puff! Blood splashed. The black-robed and the blood-robed slaughter emperors were sent flying at the same time. Half of their bodies were destroyed. The 2 slaughter emperors were at the 9th heaven of the emperor realm. If they were in their prime, the little Taichu might not be able to withstand their attacks. But now, after the destructive power of the Dragon Ball, the 2 of them were much weaker. They were at most at the 4th heaven of the emperor realm. Therefore, they couldn't withstand the little Taichu's attack. Outside the ice sea, The crowd of cultivators trembled when they saw this. The two slaughter emperors at the ninth heaven of the chaotic realm of the great extinguishing divine dynasty were now in such a pathetic state. Ah! Angry roars came from the bottom of the ice sea. The black-robed slaughter emperors and the blood-robed slaughter emperors recovered their emperor aura. Staring at the little Taichu, the two of them were furious. Staring at Lin Tian, their eyes were full of murderous intent. Hate me? Lin Tian looked at the two of them and smiled sarcastically. Do you have the right to hate me? Who provoked me again and again? This is called the evils you brought on yourself are the hardest to bear. He looked at the two of them with a mocking smile on his face. Destroying you is a way for me to vent my anger. For the 10 directions celestial domain, I'm doing justice for the heavens, getting rid of evil for the people. Countless people will clap and cheer for your destruction. They will even wake up laughing in their dreams. Well done. This bunch of trash should have been destroyed long ago. A bunch of scums. You'll die if you see the light. Great extinguishing divine dynasty? You're a bunch of bastards who are worse than pigs and dogs. Stinky rats in the gutter. Why don't you die? You'll only pollute the air if you live in this world. In the distance, the cultivators of the great extinguishing divine dynasty shouted and cursed the great extinguishing divine dynasty in response to Lin Tian's words. The two slaughter emperors of the great extinguishing divine dynasty were furious. Their old faces were distorted with murderous intent. What do you think? Did you hear me? The great extinguishing divine dynasty is just a bunch of trash, scums, bastards who are worse than pigs and dogs, stinky rats in the gutter. You'll only pollute the air if you live in this world. Lin Tian looked at the two slaughter emperors and said with a sarcastic smile. The two slaughter emperors of the chaotic ninth level stared at Lin Tian and clenched their fists. The murderous intent in their eyes was extremely strong and vicious. However, they did not charge at him this time. At this moment, the two of them were well aware of their current situation. They had been severely injured by the Dragon Ball, and their strength had decreased greatly. They could not block little Taichu, who was on Lin Tian's shoulder. I'll definitely kill you. The black-robed slaughter emperor gritted his teeth and said in a cold voice. He tore open the void and escaped with the blood-robed slaughter emperor. Lin Tian did not care about that at all. He did not stop them and still had a sarcastic smile on his face. The next moment, the space collapsed and the black-robed slaughter emperor and the blood-robed slaughter emperor fell out of the void at the same time. Their expressions changed and they looked at Lin Tian. What have you done? Chapter 1159. The two slaughter emperors of the great extinguishing god dynasty stared at Lin Tian with a grim expression. They had just activated the divine concealment skill to leave with their emperor-level cultivation. They had planned to kill Lin Tian and little Taichu after recovering from their injuries. However, they had miscalculated. They had just entered the void with the divine concealment skill when they were shaken out by a terrifying force. Lin Tian looked at the two of them and smiled indifferently. Isn't it the same as you? I just sealed the space here. He knew very well that although the Dragon Ball he had brought was terrifying, it would not be able to kill the existences of the ninth heaven of the Emperor realm. At most, it would cause them to be severely injured. Therefore, in order to prevent the two slaughter emperors of the great extinguishing god dynasty from escaping, he had secretly transmitted a message to little Taichu when the Dragon Ball had slightly calmed down after the explosion. He had asked the little guy to seal the space here completely with his powerful force. Ordinary means would not be able to break through the space here. The two slaughter emperors of the great extinguishing god dynasty looked even worse. They gritted their teeth and looked at little Taichu, who was on Lin Tian's shoulder. Obviously, the two of them knew very well that the space here could only be sealed by little Taichu's power. It was impossible for Lin Tian to seal the space here. With Lin Tian's current cultivation, it was impossible for him to seal the existences of the Emperor realm. Stop yelling at me. You guys should think about how you're going to survive. Lin Tian looked down at the two of them from the sky and sneered. However, do you think you could survive now? The meaning of his words was very obvious. The two slaughter emperors of the great extinguishing god dynasty naturally understood. Their faces were full of coldness. "Break the seal here. Rush out." The slaughter emperor in the black robe gritted his teeth. The slaughter emperor in the red robe nodded and immediately attacked together with the slaughter emperor in the black robe. They shook the sky and cut the space seal here. They wanted to break the seal and rush out. It was not because they were timid. They knew very well that they were no match for little Taichu when they were severely injured. They would only die if they fought head-on. The only way was to break the seal here and escape with extreme speed. "Humph!" Lin Tianlong smiled and looked at little Taichu on his shoulder. The little guy knew what he meant. The wings on his back flapped. 6 divine lights swept across all directions and pressed the slaughter emperor in the black robe and the slaughter emperor in the red emperor and the black emperor in the red robe. This 6-color divine light was somewhat terrifying. It carried a divine power, as if it could wipe out everything in the world, causing the black robe Shadi and the red robe Shadi to change their expressions. They immediately stopped attacking the spatial seal of this place and had to free up their hands to deal with it. Boom! Boom! 2 waves of powerful blood-red radiance surged out, colliding with the 6-color divine light that was flooding in from all directions, interweaving with astonishing Emperor Qi. This kind of power collided with the little guy's 6-color divine light. Instantly, the sky was filled with the light of destruction. Soon, the 6-colored godly light was neutralized. The black-robed slaughter emperor and the blood-robed slaughter emperor trembled slightly and took a few steps back. "Yah!" the little Taichu uttered as the wings on its back vibrated. Dense 6-colored divine light gushed out and pressed toward the 2 slayers. At the same time, the little guy jumped up from Lin Tian's shoulder, and an even more astonishing 6-colored divine light was released. Boom! The 6-colored divine light intertwined to form a 6-colored sea. Like a river of stars, it enveloped the 2 of them in this sealed space. The black-robed slaughter monarch and the blood-robed slaughter monarch were startled at the same time. They unleashed all kinds of killing techniques in their current states. However, at this moment, the little guy was obviously more serious. The change of the 6 divine lights was a little terrifying. For the black-robed slaughter emperor and the blood-robed slaughter emperor, who were only at the 4th sky of emperor realm after being severely injured, the 6 divine lights were obviously beyond their ability to resist. In the blink of an eye, the 6 divine lights crushed all kinds of killing techniques they used and landed on them. Pooh! Pooh! The 2 slayers' bodies exploded, and their blood splattered all over the void. Instantly, all the cultivators near the ice sea were shocked. The 2 slayers of the great extinguishing god dynasty couldn't resist the little beast at all. Now, they are not in their peak states. Just now, they were hit by the Dragon Ball. Although they were severely injured and their strength decreased greatly, they are still very terrifying. However, they are completely at a disadvantage in the battle against the little beast. That little beast is really so strong. These cultivators had seen the little Taichu's spiritual brand that killed the Emperor Realm Masters by Lin Tian. They already knew that the little Taichu was very powerful. However, they were still shocked when they saw it with their own eyes. After all, there was a huge difference between seeing it with their own eyes and seeing it through someone else's spiritual brand. Kill them. Some of the cultivators who hated the great extinguishing god dynasty shouted. They clenched their fists and stared at the ruined ice sea. There, the bodies of the black-robed slayers and the blood-robed slayers had been shattered. At this moment, they were squirming crazily and started to reassemble. With a rumbling sound, their Emperor Qi vibrated. Then, in the blink of an eye, they reformed into new Emperor Realm bodies. Damn it! The 2 of them stared at the little Taichu and stared at Lin Tian. Their expressions were ugly and their gazes were vicious. Lin Tian didn't care about their vicious gazes at all. Or rather, he was already used to it. You deserve to die. You deserve to die. He stood high in the sky and looked down at the 2 emperors like a supreme being. His eyes were indifferent and cruel. As soon as he finished speaking, the little Taichu moved again. This time, It flapped its wings, and 4 immortal spirits appeared beside it. They were a real dragon, a celestial phoenix, a black tortoise, and a vermilion bird. All of them were exuding terrifying fluctuations, as if they were real. Boom! Following the appearance of these 4 immortal spirits, the entire space began to tremble. Even the surrounding space began to tremble. In the next moment, the 4 immortal spirits covered the black-robed Slayer Emperor in the blink of an eye. The black-robed Slayer Emperor felt the threat of death immediately. He propped up all his divine power to resist, and killing light filled the sky. However, the killing light was instantly destroyed by the shadows of the 4 immortal spirits. Then, the black-robed Slayer Emperor was shrouded in the shadows of the 4 immortal spirits. With a poof, he exploded. His emperor body and divine soul were both annihilated. He's dead. A ninth heaven emperor realm Slayer Emperor was. Some cultivators trembled. Further away, Yin Yip Wuxing Crocodile, and Ling Yun were standing together. Wuxing Crocodile sneered. This is what we expected. He was severely injured by the Dragon Ball. He only has the strength of 4th Heaven Emperor realm. How can he stop the little guy? Above the ice sea, Lin Tian glanced at the place where the black-robed Slayer Emperor was crushed. Then, he looked at the last Slayer Emperor, the blood-robed Slayer Emperor. "It's time for you to die," he said. As soon as he finished speaking, the little Taichu called out in its baby voice and propped up the shadows of the 4 immortal spirits again. The void rumbled. The shadows of the 4 immortal spirits pressed toward the blood-robed Slayer Emperor, as if they were real. After destroying the 10,000 annihilation techniques that the blood-robed Slayer Emperor had propped up, they covered him entirely. No! With a scream, the blood-robed Slayer Emperor's body exploded. His god soul was also annihilated. Chapter 1160. The ice sea was completely destroyed. Specks of blood floated in the air, causing the entire area to become deathly silent. All of the cultivators were stunned. Only after a dozen breaths had passed did a sound come from this place again. Destroyed. Completely destroyed. Finally destroyed. Some people who hated the all-extinguishing god dynasty laughed wildly. As they laughed, tears rolled down their cheeks, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. Lin Tian detonated the Dragon Ball, destroying the main clan of the all-extinguishing god dynasty and all the people except for the black-robed Killer Emperor and the blood-robed Killer Emperor. Then, little Taichu killed the black-robed Killer Emperor and the blood-robed Killer Emperor. Now, the all-extinguishing god dynasty was truly destroyed. From now on, there would be no all-extinguishing god dynasty in the 10 Directions Heaven territory. How could these people, who had always hated this bloodline, not be excited? How could they not be excited? At the same time, the other cultivators were also trembling slightly. 2 killer emperors in the 9th heaven of chaos. Just like that, the all-extinguishing god dynasty is really gone. It's completely destroyed. Many cultivators stared at the broken sky above the ice sea. They stared at Lin Tian and the little Taichu with chills running down their spines. On the other side, Yin Yimur, Wuxing Crocodile, and Ling Yun stood together. Wuxing Crocodile said, "No one has a good ending for provoking this guy." As it spoke, it sighed with emotion. However, such a huge, all-extinguishing god dynasty was actually destroyed just like that. It's really, although it knew Lin Tian's entire plan and knew that the all-extinguishing god dynasty would definitely be destroyed this time, it still couldn't help but be shocked when the all-extinguishing god dynasty was really destroyed. This is a self-inflicted disaster, Ling Yun said. Yin looked at the ice sea sky. Naturally, she was also shocked, with a trace of strange light in her eyes. Due to the explosion of the Dragon Ball, more than half of the ice sea's water source had been evaporated. The bottom of the sea was broken, and scorching hot magma was gushing out, causing the broken soil on the bottom of the sea to sizzle. Many places were scorched. In the sky, Lin Tian stood quietly. Little Taichu flapped its wings in the distance and quickly flew back. "Yeah!" The little guy called out in a childish voice and landed on Lin Tian's shoulder. "This little guy is really amazing. Lin Tian praised with a smile. As he spoke, he glanced down at the dilapidated ice sea, then turned around and walked towards Yin Yup and the others. As he moved, the surrounding cultivators all held their breaths as their gazes followed his movements. Soon, he arrived beside Yin Yup and the others. "Let's go." He smiled at Yin Yup and the others. At this time, the great extermination god dynasty had been completely destroyed. There was no need for them to stay here any longer. "Let's go." Whooshing Crocodile nodded. In the next moment, the group rose into the air and flew towards the distance. Near the ice sea, a group of cultivators looked at the back of Lin Tian until Lin Tianyi and the others completely disappeared into the horizon. This is really... Someone trembled, his entire body trembling. Soon, everything in this place spread throughout the entire northern region in the blink of an eye, and then the entire ninth heaven. What? The great extermination god dynasty was destroyed. It was destroyed by that Lin Tian. Everyone was wiped out? The ninth heaven was shaken again. This time, it was undoubtedly more intense than any of the previous times. This was because this time, it was not as simple as destroying a few strongholds and killing a few saints and quasi-emperors. This time, it was the destruction of a top inheritance. The mighty, great, extinguishing godly dynasty, one of the 9 most powerful forces in the 10-direction celestial domain, with countless experts, was destroyed by Lin Tian, a cultivator from a later era. Many cultivators were horrified. A top force that had existed for countless years was naturally extremely shocking, but now, such a behemoth was destroyed by Lin Tian just like that. This matter was too shocking. However, no matter how shocking this matter was, it was still a fact. Spiritual brand after spiritual brand was struck out, and there were even groups of cultivators that personally ascended to the northern region's ice sea to witness a scene of devastation and desolation. How did he get that dragon orb? That kind of destructive power is simply, even a person at the 7th heaven of the Emperor realm would be obliterated by that dragon pearl, right? Someone saw the scene of Lin Tian detonating the Dragon Ball and sucked in a breath of cold air. That Dragon Ball was simply too terrifying. The little beast beside him is also too powerful. Conservatively speaking, it should have the strength of a 7th heavenly layer emperor, right? Killing a half-step emperor, destroying the great extermination stronghold, killing saints and quasi-emperors, destroying the great extermination god dynasty. This person, terrifying. Many cultivators trembled. At the same time, in the 9th heaven, while the cultivators were shocked by Lin Tian's destruction of the great extermination god dynasty, many people also applauded. Well done! That kind of organization is simply a disaster. Destroying it can be said to have eliminated a great evil for the world. That's right. Many cultivators discussed. At the same time, in this heaven, the Yin-Yang sect and several other top forces that had grudges against Lin Tian and were plotting against Lin Tian became even more silent after learning of this matter. The terrifying and mysterious great extermination god dynasty was destroyed by Lin Tian after finding out the location of the main force, which made these major forces feel a chill. They thought about it for a moment. If Lin Tian had used that dragon pearl to bombard their main clan, what would the outcome have been? Without a doubt, with that kind of destructive Dragon Ball and the tyrannical little Taichu, any one of them would be destroyed. These top forces felt waves of fear, and then their killing intent towards Lin Tian became even stronger. Kill! We must destroy him as soon as possible. In these top forces, the important figures of this branch let out almost exactly the same sound. At this time, they were no longer just angry because Lin Tian possessed the heavenly venerate ancient scripture and the pure yang flames. Nor were they angry because Lin Tian had killed their chosen and several quasi-emperors. Now they felt threatened. Yes, it was a threat. At this time, Lin Tian was able to destroy the great extermination god dynasty with that Dragon Ball. Perhaps he would be able to create a second Dragon Ball soon. At that time, they would be in danger and very likely follow in the footsteps of the great extermination god dynasty. Under such circumstances, Only by erasing Lin Tian as soon as possible can they truly feel at ease. On this day, the ninth heaven was in an unprecedented uproar. In every corner, people were discussing Lin Tian. Lin Tian, this young man, is simply a miracle. Some experts of the older generation sighed. Time flew by, and 7 days passed. At this time, Lin Tian and the others were walking on a forest path. In the small forest, the sounds of birds chirping and beasts roaring could be heard from time to time. TSK boy Lin, you have become a miracle. The whooshing crocodile looked at Lin Tian and said with a hint of ridicule. After leaving the frozen sea, they had been walking in some deep mountains and forests, but they were very clear about the outside world and how people were talking about Lin Tian. Lin Tian gave it a sideways glance, then looked at Yin Yup beside him and said with a smile, "This time, it was mainly thanks to Yup help that we were able to completely destroy the Great Extermination God Dynasty." He was telling the truth. This time, if Yin Yup didn't calculate the location of the Great Extermination God Dynasty's main clan, he wouldn't have been able to do anything even if he had extraordinary means. Don't mention it, I just did something insignificant. The most important thing was you and little Tai Chu. Yin Yup smiled and shook her head. She paused and looked at Lin Tiandao. That, by the way, I want to leave first. Leave? What's the matter? Lin Tian asked. Beside him, the whooshing crocodile and Ling Yin also looked at Yin Yup. Yin Yup shook her head and said with a smile, "Nothing special. It has been a few years and I want to go and see my master. In addition, I obtained a few celestial herbs in the sleepless place, and I want to bring them to my master." Over the years, the marvelous mathematician had calculated all kinds of things for many cultivators, and his qi and blood had been severely depleted. Back in the sleepless place, she and Lin Tian had obtained a few celestial herbs, which could prolong one's life, nourish one's soul, and strengthen one's qi and blood. She wanted to bring them to her master, the marvelous mathematician, so that he could adjust his qi and blood to be stronger. Lin Tian understood and said, "Do you need us to go with you?" "No, I'm not going to a dangerous place. The most important thing is that I will be accompanying my master at the Tianji dojo for a while. After all, my master is alone there. If you go with me, it will take up a lot of your time," Yin Yup said with a smile. Lin Tian thought for a while, then nodded and said, "Okay, then be careful." As he spoke, he asked the little Tai Chu to open the void portal directly to the southern region for Yin Yup. He watched Yin Yup step into the void portal and enter the southern region. When the void portal disappeared, he withdrew his gaze. "What are we doing now?" Ling Yin asked. "Of course, we are going to cultivate and improve our cultivation," Lin Tian said. Now, although he was able to kill an emperor-to-be on his own, he was still too weak to face an emperor-to-be. In a head-on battle, he had no ability to resist at all. He needed to work harder to improve his cultivation and become stronger. Whooshing Crocodile said, "Let's go into seclusion. Grandpa Crocodile knows a suitable place for seclusion in this region." Lin Tian nodded. "Okay." Whooshing Crocodile then led the way. The group rose into the air and headed toward the southwest of the northern region. As Whooshing Crocodile said, there was a place with good spiritual energy in that place, but it was very hidden. It was discovered by chance. The group was very fast. They stepped on the void, and in the blink of an eye, they were hundreds of thousands of feet away from the southwest of the northern region. Right at this moment, the northern territory suddenly shook violently. A divine ray of light shot up into the sky from the southeast of this large territory, and it was faintly mixed with the terrifying roar of a dragon. It instantly caused the group of people to be visibly moved. Chapter 1161. The divine rainbow was bright, and the dragon's roar was loud. It was as if a proud, true dragon was born at this moment. Lin Tian and the others were all shocked. They couldn't help but look in the direction of the divine rainbow. This was especially the case for Lin Tian. He stared in the direction of the divine rainbow as strands of light involuntarily interweaved in his eyes. He frowned slightly. He clearly sensed a very shocking fragrance rushing out with the divine rainbow. That fragrance was a medicinal fragrance. It was very pure and exceeded the range of life-extending divine medicine. Could it be the true dragon's sacred medicine? His eyes flashed with a strange light. The true dragon's sacred medicine was born and nurtured by heaven and earth. It contained endless essence of the great Tao and had various shocking effects. The most shocking one was it could extend one's life by 100,000 years. This sacred medicine was rare in the world. Because he cultivated the medicine encyclopedia, there were records of this sacred medicine. Some of the characteristics of the sacred medicine recorded in the encyclopedia were very similar to what he saw now. Let's change direction. We'll go to the southeast of this large region, he said to Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun. The true dragon saint medicine had the ability to extend one's life for 100,000 years. Even for emperor rank experts, it was a divine treasure that they yearned for even in their dreams. Since he had detected it, he naturally wouldn't miss it. After all, this was equivalent to 100,000 years of life. It was more than 10 times more valuable than a flawless heavenly treasure. Moreover, with the apothecary's medicine canon's divine arts, as long as he could obtain the true dragon saint medicine, he could combine it with other medicinal ingredients to refine medicine, maximizing its divine effects. He could refine 5 true dragon saint pills, each of which could extend one's life by 100,000 years, which was equivalent to increasing the life extension divine effect of the true dragon saint medicine by 5 times. At the same time, the true dragon sacred medicine had other aspects of divine power. Using it to refine pills, he could refine some killing Baodan that could threaten emperor rank experts. You sense something? Wuxing Crocodile asked him. Beside him, Ling Yun also looked at Lin Tian. Lin Tian didn't hide anything and simply told him everything he knew about the true dragon's sacred medicine. Instantly, both the man and the crocodile were shocked, and their eyes widened. Go! We'll be there immediately, Wuxing Crocodile shouted. Move out immediately. Ling Yun agreed. What was the most important thing for a cultivator? What was the most precious? Without a doubt, it was his lifespan. Today, a saint medicine that could prolong one's life for 100,000 years was right in front of them. Through Lin Tian's hands, the effects could be multiplied by 5 times, and 5 real Dragon Saint Dan pills that could prolong one's life for 100,000 years. How could the alligator and the alligator hesitate? Their eyes lit up. Lin Tian nodded. Let's go. Immediately, the group changed their direction and rushed towards the southeast of the north region at a very fast speed. Presently, because their cultivations were extremely formidable, and the weakest amongst them was at the 3rd level of rebirth. So, when they intentionally sped up, it was naturally extremely swift. Coupled with the fact that they weren't too far away from where the ray of divine light shot up from, it only took a few hours for them to arrive at the area where the ray of divine light shot up from. As far as the eye could see, there was an ancient mountain range in front of them. The mountains were connected to each other. Some places were covered with lush vegetation, and the spiritual qi was astonishing. Some places were bare, and there was not the slightest bit of vitality. It seemed a little contradictory. Slightly closer, the mountain range was intertwined with a very thick white fog, like the fog of the celestial realm. Kid, look around and see where that thing is. At this time, the group was more than 100 feet away from the edge of the mountain range. Wuxing Crocodile asked Lin Tiandao. There was a faint golden light lingering in Lin Tian's eyes, and a tyrannical divine thought spread out. After a moment, he frowned slightly. I can't find it. I can't detect that medicinal fragrance for the time being. He said, without a doubt, this was where the streak of light had originated from. At that time, he had sensed an extremely pure and astonishing medicinal fragrance from the streak of light. However, when he arrived here, he could no longer sense the medicinal fragrance. Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun were puzzled. Ling Yun said, You can detect it from afar. Why can't you detect it when we're close? There are many reasons. Perhaps at that time, that thing was coincidentally emitting a very strong aura, so I was able to detect it. However, right now, under normal circumstances, it is just like how it usually is, and it is not emitting as strong a medicinal fragrance as before. Thus, even though I am close to it, I am unable to sense the medicinal fragrance of that thing. Lin Tiandao. Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun heard this and couldn't help but nod. This was indeed very likely. Then, what should we do now? Wuxing Crocodile asked. Let's go into the mountains first. I still remember the approximate area where the divine rainbow shot up. Let's search in that area. Lin Tian's eyes flashed faintly as he looked at the mountains in front of him. Okay, we'll listen to you. Ling Yun nodded. Then, 2 people and 1 crocodile walked towards the mountains in front of them. In reality, many cultivators in the surroundings had already hurried over due to the streak of light from before. Moreover, many of them had already entered the mountain range. Clearly, like Lin Tian, they had sensed the astonishing medicinal fragrance within the streak of light and knew that there was an extraordinary treasure here. Is it real? Is it really that kind of sacred dragon medicine? Could there be a mistake? It can't be wrong. The amazing medicinal fragrance, accompanied by loud dragon roars, is very similar to some of the characteristics of that sacred medicine recorded in ancient books. It's definitely that kind of sacred medicine without a doubt. Stop talking nonsense. Let's go into the mountains and search. Many people have already gone in. Outside the mountains, 7 cultivators were walking in groups. They were obviously good friends. At this time, they were whispering to each other and disappeared into the mountains in the blink of an eye. At the same time, more cultivators nearby were rushing towards the mountains in front of them. Their eyes were shining brightly. That is, at this time, at the edge of the mountains, someone saw Lin Tian and the others who were walking into the mountains. His expression changed immediately. Beside him, this person had a few other companions. Seeing this person's expression, one of them, a man in yellow, looked in the direction of this person's gaze in confusion. Then, he trembled and could not help but change his expression. Lin Tian? Due to his shock, the yellow-clothed man's voice was not soft, so all the cultivators nearby heard him. They all involuntarily tilted their heads and followed the yellow-clothed man's gaze. Then, all of them trembled. It's really that man. He's also here? Many of the cultivators were shocked. Just a few days ago, Lin Tian had brought along a destructive dragon pearl and destroyed the great extinguishing god dynasty, putting an end to this top-notch great power that had been passed down for countless years. His reputation had reached an extremely high point, and the world was shocked. At this time, how could these cultivators not be shocked when they saw Lin Tian appear in this place? They could not help but shrink their necks. He's coming. Is he going into the mountains? Is he also here for the divine rainbow that suddenly rushed out? Make way! Quick dodge! Seeing Lin Tian walk over, some of the cultivators who were standing in front of Lin Tian and the others trembled violently and quickly took the initiative to make way for him. Lin Tian had destroyed the terrifying, great, extinguishing godly court. These ordinary cultivators were very afraid of him. Lin Tian walked towards the mountains in front of him. Naturally, he could feel the fear of the cultivators nearby, but his expression did not change. He had long been used to it. Soon, he, Wuxing Crocodile, and Ling Yun walked into the mountains and headed towards the center of the mountains. He remembered that the place where the divine rainbow rushed out was roughly the center of this mountain range. After entering this continuous mountain range, the ancient trees inside were all extraordinary. The intertwining spiritual chi was also very rich. At the same time, shocking beastly roars could be heard from time to time, and it was deafening. The group of people stepped into this mountain range. Although the terrain between the mountains was more complicated, because of their high cultivation, they were naturally not affected by it. Soon, more than a quarter of an hour had passed, and the group had walked very far away. They had crossed several connected mountain ranges, and the air was gradually filled with a hazy white fog. The surrounding vegetation had decreased by a lot, and the temperature had also dropped by a few degrees. Wait! Suddenly, Lin Tian spoke and stopped. When Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun heard this, they both stopped and turned to look at Lin Tian curiously. What's wrong, kid? We stepped into a dangerous place. Lin Tian Dao. As he said this, he lifted his leg and kicked a stone in front of him. Immediately, When the stone flew about 10 feet away, a dense killing light suddenly intertwined in the air and directly smashed the stone into pieces. This is Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun were shocked at the same time. The killing light just now was a little shocking, and it was enough to destroy a Nirvana realm cultivator. Most importantly, the killing light appeared too suddenly. There was no sign at all, as if it was born out of thin air. If Lin Tian did not warn them, they would definitely have been hit by the killing light when they walked in front. The terrain here is a little unusual. It's called the Fallen Flame Nirvana Land. It's a natural killing formation of the earth veins, and it's enough to threaten ordinary Nirvana realm cultivators. Lin Tiandao. As he spoke, the dragon pattern on the soles of his feet surged out and disappeared into the ground. Then it spread out in all directions and broke the killing formation here. In the blink of an eye, 3 breaths passed. "Okay, let's go," he said. The Fallen Flame Nirvana Land was a little unusual, but it was nothing to him now. With his current cultivation and the standard of the Dragon Burial Scripture, it was very easy to break a killing formation of this level. He did not even need to use much divine power. It's really convenient to control the Dragon Burial Scripture. When we encounter a troublesome killing formation of the earth veins, we can always detect it immediately. Wuxing Crocodile clicked his tongue and said. Chapter 1162. The Dragon Burial Scripture is indeed extraordinary. It has an extremely magical ability, and it can be said to be supreme in the field of mountains and rivers. Lin Tian asked Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun to follow behind him. He walked in the front, heading towards the center of the mountain range. This mountain range was very vast, and the mountains were connected to each other. As the group moved forward, the white fog in the air became thicker, and the temperature also dropped. Ah! Suddenly, a scream came from the front, followed by a deathly silence. 2 bloody lights flashed and disappeared. Those 2 bloody lights. Why do they look like a pair of pupils? Ling Yun was shocked. It's not just like them, they are. Wuxing Crocodile said. Lin Tian didn't say anything. He walked in the front, and soon, he smelled the smell of blood. On the ground, several corpses were scattered. They were all female cultivators. Their cultivation wasn't weak, but their death was a bit miserable. Almost half of their flesh and blood were gnawed, and even their internal organs were pulled out. Blood flowed nonstop. It was a shocking sight. Lin Tian moved his gaze and found a few strands of red hair beside the corpses of these female cultivators. A faint light flashed in his eyes. Spirit demon, he whispered. Spirit demons were born along with the dense spiritual chi of heaven and earth. Their nature was very evil, and they fed on spiritual chi. They also liked to devour the flesh and blood of living people, especially women's flesh and blood. Therefore, they were crowned with the word demon and called spirit demons. He stared at the red hair beside the corpses of the female cultivators. That thing was undoubtedly from the body of a spirit demon. It was intertwined with the unique aura of a spirit demon. Spirit demon? There's such a thing here? What kind of thing killed these female cultivators? Wuxing Crocodile naturally knows what a spirit demon is. When he was in the 5th heaven, he encountered one with Lin Tianyi. At that time, if it weren't for the little Taichu in the egg that woke up and exuded an amazing aura, they would have died. This thing is accompanied by the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It's equivalent to a king body. Ling Yin also knew about the spirit demon. Using his powerful divine sense, he scanned the air in this place for a special aura. Not long after, he captured a faint but very powerful evil fluctuation. He said, "There is a quasi-emperor level aura remaining here. It seems to belong to the so-called spirit demon that Lin Yin mentioned. It's at the quasi-emperor level. A spirit demon is comparable to a king body. A spirit demon at the quasi-emperor level is equivalent to a great perfection king body. Ignore it. Let's go to the center of this mountain range," Lin Tian said. Immediately, he continued to move forward. A quasi-emperor level spirit demon is very terrifying, but for the current him, it's nothing. His combat strength is enough to kill a quasi-emperor. Not to mention, he has the dragon burial scripture, which naturally restrains spirit demons. Beside him, Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun didn't worry much. After all, they know that Lin Tian is very powerful. Even a quasi-emperor level spirit demon might not be able to stop the current Lin Tian. Most importantly, the little Taichu is here like a guardian god. Even if a peak 7th heavenly layer emperor comes, they have nothing to worry about. The group moved forward. Gradually, the white fog in the air became thicker, and many cultivators appeared in front of them. This fog is too strange. Even my divine sense is blocked. Someone said, these cultivators were the first to enter this mountain range. Because they were near this mountain range from the beginning, they sensed the shocking medicinal fragrance in the divine rainbow. They discovered that the legendary true dragon, sacred medicine, might be born in this mountain range, so they entered to find it. However, at this time, after finding this place, the white fog in the air suddenly became too thick. The vision of the group was greatly affected, and even the tyrannical divine sense lost its effect in this place. Many people couldn't help but stop in place. When Lin Tian and the others arrived here, Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun couldn't help but frown. Divine sense is really useless here. This white fog is a little unusual. Wuxing Crocodile frowned. It is very strange. Ling Yun also said. He and Wuxing Crocodile are at the 3rd heavenly layer Nirvana realm, so their divine sense was very strong. However, at this time, in this place, their powerful divine sense couldn't see through the white fog. It's okay, follow me. Lin Tiandao. As he spoke, the light of the dragon patterns gathered in his eyes. He directly opened the divine eye of Delusion Breaker, and 2 dragon pattern rings floated above his pupils. The white fog in this place was a kind of thing formed by the pattern of the earth veins. It could block vision and suppress divine sense. However, this kind of thing was just a decoration to him, who had cultivated the divine eye of Delusion Breaker. After opening the divine eye of Delusion Breaker, this white fog that could block vision and suppress divine sense couldn't affect him at all. He walked at the front, and the divine eye of Delusion Breaker saw through everything. He walked forward at a steady pace without any confusion. What a useful pair of eyes. Ling Yin clicked his tongue. The white fog was very thick in this place. As Lin Tian walked forward, the white fog became thicker and thicker, even rolling like waves. Ah! Suddenly, there was a scream in front of them. It was the voice of a female cultivator, and the smell of blood floated in the air in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, this place, the cultivators who temporarily stopped because of the white fog were shocked. What's wrong? What happened? Someone exclaimed. At this time, the white fog covered all directions. Many people could sense where the scream came from, but when they looked in that direction, they couldn't see anything. The white fog had completely blocked vision and divine sense. No! Soon, there was another scream. Monster! There's a monster! Ah! A terrified voice was emitted. However, it only spat out a few words before disappearing. At the same time, there was a crunching sound in this space, as if someone was chewing on something. Suddenly, a horrifying atmosphere intertwined in the blink of an eye. In the next moment, a blood-red light flashed in this space. It was very fast, and every movement was accompanied by a scream. After 10 breaths, this blood-red light directly rushed towards Lin Tian, who was quietly walking towards the center of the mountain range. Its speed was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, it was near Lin Tian's head. You're very unwise. Lin Tian's voice was indifferent. Because of the white fog, others could not see their surroundings clearly and could not sense the essence of this blood-red light. However, he was different. After opening his divine eyes of Delusion Breaker, he could see everything very clearly. This blood-red light had the shape of a human body, but its face was that of an ape. It was covered in red hair and exuded a very shocking, evil aura. It was indeed a spirit demon, a quasi-emperor level spirit demon. He could see the other party's appearance and every movement. He clearly saw the other party jump up and down and kill several cultivators, but he didn't care. He quietly hurried on his way. preparing to get to the center of this mountain range as soon as possible and leave after finding the true dragon's sacred medicine. At this moment, this spirit demon took the initiative to attack him. Its pair of blood-red eyes were extremely demonic. Obviously, it saw him as its prey. Therefore, he naturally would not do nothing like before. He directly slapped out with his palm. His slap, which was accompanied by wisps of dragon patterns, instantly landed on the spirit demon's body. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and the quasi-emperor's spirit demon was directly sent flying. It rolled several hundred feet away and crashed into a large rock in the distance. At the same time, because of the dragon patterns on Lin Tian's slap, the white fog was instantly dispersed. Many cultivators' vision suddenly became clearer, and they saw the spirit demon that had crashed into the large rock. That's the spirit demon recorded in the ancient books? Just now, this monster was this. Many cultivators' faces turned pale when they saw the spirit demon. After all, spirit demons were extremely terrifying creatures. At the same time, as the white fog was dispersed by the dragon patterns, many cultivators discovered Lin Tian. Lin Tian? Someone cried out. Then, the crowd of cultivators looked over and were all shocked. Many of them couldn't help but tremble slightly. It really is Lin Tian. When did he come here? Speaking of which, I think I heard a voice just now. It seemed to be something like, "You're very unwise." It seemed to be his voice. Then, I heard a loud bang and saw the spirit demon that had crashed into the large rock. Could this be? He was the one who sent the spirit demon flying. Many cultivators were suddenly enlightened. Then, the crowd of cultivators tacitly retreated in unison. They distanced themselves from the spirit demon and even further away from Lin Tian. To these cultivators, the spirit demon was very scary, but Lin Tian was even scarier. He was hundreds or thousands of times more terrifying than the spirit demon. In the distance, the spirit demon that had crashed into the large rock struggled. After a while, it stood up and stared at Lin Tian with its blood-red eyes, full of viciousness. Roar! It let out a loud roar, and the wind and clouds changed. It forcefully dispersed the white fog in the area and pounced on Lin Tian again. For a moment, as it moved, the surrounding space was shattered, and void turbulence surged out. Such an imposing manner could be said to have shocked everyone present. Even Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun could not help but be shocked. This aura is simply even more terrifying than the quasi-emperor level humanoid weapon cultivated by the great extinguishing god dynasty. Ling Yun said. With a whoosh, the spirit demon rushed in front of Lin Tian in the blink of an eye. The blood-red light around its body surged and pressed down on Lin Tian. At the same time, it also covered Ling Yun and Wuxing Crocodile. Lin Tian raised his head and looked at the spirit demon. "You're courting death." As he spoke, dense dragon patterns suddenly appeared under his feet. These dragon patterns quickly surged up and directly gathered into a large dragon pattern sword. He grabbed it with his right hand and slashed it at the quasi-emperor level spirit demon that was charging in front of him expressionlessly. Suddenly, with a splash, blood splattered everywhere. This quasi-emperor level spirit demon was directly smashed into pieces. Roar! A bloody mist floated in the air. This spirit demon roared loudly, and a demonic soul struggled in the bloody mist, trying to reassemble its body. Lin Tian's expression did not change. With a shake of his right hand, more dragon patterns surged up and turned into a dragon pattern. They sealed the spirit demon's demonic soul and mightily pressed down on it. This quasi-emperor level spirit demon was extremely powerful. It was equivalent to a great mastery monarch physique and was almost invincible under the emperor realm. Its strength could be said to be 5 to 6 times that of an ordinary quasi-emperor. However, to Lin Tian, this terrifying quasi-emperor level spirit demon was not a big deal. This was because the dragon burial scripture that he controlled was a natural counter to spirit demons. With his current 6th heaven of Nirvana realm cultivation and the dragon burial scripture, this quasi-emperor level spirit demon was equivalent to an 8th heaven of Nirvana realm cultivator. He used his mind to control the dragon pattern and suppress the surroundings, crushing the spirit demon's demonic soul with absolute force. "Who is hurting my battle servant?" At this moment, a sinister voice intertwined with an extremely terrifying emperor's aura and extremely cold air. A black-robed figure appeared in the blink of an eye. Chapter 1163. The black-robed figure arrived in the blink of an eye. His entire body was surrounded by a dark aura of death, and one could not sense any signs of life from him. His old face was rotten beyond recognition, and one could even see his bones in many places. It was a horrifying sight. Even so, this person exuded a terrifying emperor chi that seemed to be able to erode everything in the world. This is an emperor. His face. Who did he say injured his battle servant? That quasi-emperor spirit demon is his servant. The expressions of all the cultivators changed when they saw the black-robed figure. After all, this person was an emperor. To these ordinary cultivators, an emperor was undoubtedly an existence that was revered and feared at all times. Lin Tian was using the dragon tattoo diagram to suppress the spirit demon's demonic soul. When the black-robed figure appeared, he could not help but be shocked. The dragon tattoo diagram that he had condensed was disturbed and shattered with a crack. Lin Tian was forced to take a few steps back. He looked at the black-robed figure. The other party's rotten old face made him feel a little disgusted. However, he was suddenly moved when he caught a whiff of a shocking medicinal fragrance. He looked at the black-robed figure's left hand and saw a strange plant in his hand. Instantly, his expression changed. That is, the strange plant in the black-robed figure's left hand was only 3 inches tall, but its entire body was shrouded in a faint brilliance. There were dozens of green leaves growing on it, and each leaf was like a small green dragon, giving off a fantastical feeling. "Real dragon's sacred herb," he blurted out. Beside him, the 5-element alligator and Ling Yun could not help but be startled when they heard his voice. Their gazes followed Lin Tian's gaze and landed on the 3-inch strange plant in the black-robed figure's left hand. Immediately, their expressions changed as they were shocked by this 3-inch strange plant. At the same time, the other cultivators' expressions changed. That is, it's really the real dragon's sacred herb. It's already been taken by someone? Many cultivators were shocked. They were all here for the real dragon's sacred herb, but they did not expect it to fall into the hands of someone else. Moreover, it had fallen into the hands of an emperor. Roar! A ferocious roar rang out, shaking the entire space. The spirit demon that was crushed by Lin Tian once again repaired its spirit demon body. Its eyes were filled with a ferocious light as it once again pounced towards Lin Tian. Although Lin Tian was staring at the true dragon sacred medicine in the black-robed figure's hand, he was still very clear about his surroundings. He kicked the spirit demon that was pouncing towards him. Bang! Along with a crisp sound, Spirit Devil was once again sent flying hundreds of meters away, crashing into a black mountain in the distance. For a moment, the black mountain trembled violently and was immediately filled with cracks. Younger generation, you're quite daring. You actually dared to touch this emperor's battle servant before this emperor. The black-robed figure was like a ferocious ghost. His voice was hoarse and eerie. His eyes were sunken and filled with a faint green light. He stared at Lin Tian viciously. However, in the next moment, this person trembled violently. His sunken eyes that were staring at Lin Tian involuntarily constricted. You're looking at Lin Tian. This person's expression changed again and again. The green light in his sunken eyes became even more intense. His body could not help but tremble. He's here. He's finally here. He's standing right in front of me, the undying ghost emperor. That's great. That's great. Looking at Lin Tian, this person laughed loudly. Suddenly, he became a little crazy, and his eyes revealed an extremely greedy, ghostly light. The undying ghost emperor. Whooshing Crocodile's expression changed. Rumor has it that when an emperor's lifespan was about to dry up, he mistakenly refined an unknown death grass as the sacred herb to prolong his life. Then, the emperor's body decayed on its own and could not be repaired. His soul was locked in the decaying body. When his lifespan should have dried up, he did not disappear and has always existed in this world. Then, he called himself the Undying Ghost Emperor. It has been 400,000 years since then. This is the Undying Ghost Emperor. What? There's such a thing? Ling Yun stared at the black-robed figure, and his expression changed greatly. When his lifespan dried up, he did not disappear and has existed for another 400,000 years. Doesn't that mean that he has lived for 500,000 years? In this place, the other cultivators all heard Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun's voices. For a moment, they could not help but tremble. 500,000 years? An emperor's lifespan is at most 100,000 years. Even if he lives for another 100,000 years with the sacred herb to prolong his life, he can only live for 200,000 years at most. He has lived for 500,000 years. This, even if he has a special method to suppress the loss of his lifespan, it can't be suppressed for so long, right? Staring at the black-robed figure, all the cultivators here were shocked. This was a person from 500,000 years ago. At this moment, in this place, only Lin Tian's expression changed the most violently. Opening his divine eyes of illusion breaker, he completely saw that the undying ghost emperor opposite him could no longer be considered a living person. His physical body had completely decayed, without any vitality. Only the soul inside still existed. Strictly speaking, this undying ghost emperor was more like a dead person. At this moment, the undying ghost emperor's reaction to staring at him was too similar to that of the Bai family's ancestor, except that there was an additional sense of greed. Looking at the undying ghost emperor's glowing green ghost eyes that were full of death chi, he instantly had a very bad guess. The undying ghost emperor had seen through his constitution. Boom! Rolling death chi soared into the sky. The undying ghost emperor stared straight at Lin Tian. In an instant he moved. With a vast and mighty aura of auxiliary cultivation, he directly pounced on Lin Tian. If I take your body, I will definitely be able to return to the normal emperor's body. No. If I get your body, I will definitely surpass it. Surpass it again. I can even live forever. I can break the shackles of this world. The undying ghost emperor laughed wildly, his eyes full of greed. A few pieces of rotten flesh fell from his face, which was extremely disgusting. With a crackling sound, the death chi outside his body surged, annihilating a large area of space. Many nearby cultivators were instantly killed. Under this aura, they were directly shattered into pieces and died tragically on the spot. Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun were both shocked and trembled together. The aura emitted by the undying ghost emperor was truly terrifying. This old thing wants to take Lin Tian's physical body? Whooshing Crocodile stared. Two cold rays of light shot out from Lin Tian's eyes. He was even more certain that the undying ghost emperor had seen through his constitution. Little guy, destroy him, he said to the little Taichu on his shoulder. Little Taichu squeaked, and the wings on its back flapped. In an instant, a large expanse of six-colored divine light spread out, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a six-colored sky, pressing down on the undead ghost emperor who was rushing over, as if it could wipe out everything. Chapter 1164. Dense black ancient runes, or rather, talismans floated in the air. Each talisman was made of a special stone. As soon as they appeared, they sealed the surroundings and intertwined with strands of dark yin chi, causing the space to suddenly become oppressive. There was an extremely strange aura surging in all directions, as if it could suppress everything. In an instant, the six-colored divine light, vibrated by the little Taichu, directly encountered a huge obstacle. In an instant, it weakened countless times and even became a little unstable. It was as if ice had encountered a raging fire, shattering completely with a sizzling sound. At the same time, Lin Tian's body shook. He only felt that his divine power had been completely frozen, and it was difficult for him to circulate it. These black talismans? His expression changed. These mysterious black talismans seemed to have the power to suppress a cultivator's divine power and cultivation. I can't use my power. This, Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun also changed their expressions. The demonic power and divine power in their bodies were completely frozen, and it became very difficult for them to move. The undying ghost emperor laughed wildly, using the dense black talismans to suppress the surroundings. His entire body flowed with a dark light, mixed with the aura of decay and death. It transformed into a huge hand and grabbed at Lin Tian across the air. "Yeah!" little Taichu shouted. The wings on his back shook, and he rushed out, releasing an even more powerful six-colored divine light. In an instant, the space began to tremble. The six-colored divine light seemed to be able to wipe out everything, and it faced the undying Ghost Emperor's huge hand. The undying Ghost Emperor laughed sinisterly, and the huge hand pressed down on the six-colored divine light that little Taichu had shaken out. At the same time, the dense black talismans that sealed the surroundings emitted strands of black light, causing little Taichu's six-colored divine light to immediately distort and weaken again. At the same time, even little Taichu couldn't help but tremble, and his aura suddenly weakened by a lot. These black talismans were obtained by me in the extreme Yin Temple in the past. They combined into a netherworld great formation. Even a person at the ninth heaven of Emperor Realm can be directly suppressed. In the seal of these black talismans, I am the master, the undying Ghost Emperor said. Extreme Yin Temple? Lin Tian's expression immediately changed. Beside him, Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun were also shocked. At the same time, the expressions of the other cultivators in the area changed. From that, Extreme Yin Temple? She once entered the Extreme Yin Temple and walked out alive. And he even obtained such a terrifying divine object. They had all heard of the Extreme Yin Temple, which was the most ancient forbidden zone of death. It existed in the chaotic void and did not have a fixed location. It would appear once in a while, and every time it appeared, it would suck in countless living creatures. Almost none of the living creatures who were sucked in had ever walked out alive. Even many Emperor Realm experts had died inside. The undying Ghost Emperor in front of them had actually been sucked into the Extreme Yin Temple and walked out unscathed. Furthermore, he had even obtained an impressive divine object from the Extreme Yin Temple. Buzz! In this space, the densely packed black talismans emitted a strange black light, sealing the void in all directions and suppressing everything. The undying Ghost Emperor laughed maniacally as he charged toward Lin Tian. His rotten ghost hands intertwined with dark light, looking very vicious. You belong to me. I must have you. This person's eyes were filled with greed. The little Taichu seemed a little angry. The wings on its back shook, and more six-colored divine light surged out. At the same time, four immortal spirits appeared beside it and roared into the sky. The sky shook, and the mountains and rivers lost their color. The undying Ghost Emperor was forced to retreat. The densely packed black talismans around it trembled as if they were about to fall. This caused the undying Ghost Emperor to be shocked. His eyes flickered, and he stared at the little Taichu in disbelief. Back then, I used this set of talismans to construct a formation that could seal the heaven and earth. Even an 8th Heaven Emperor expert was easily suppressed by these black talismans. They could not resist these black talismans, and their cultivation and battle strength were suppressed. You can actually shake them? The little Taichu stared at the undying Ghost Emperor. The four immortal spirits beside it roared and moved together to suppress the undying Ghost Emperor. For a moment, the void trembled, and everything was distorted. Puff! The quasi-emperor level spirit demon was among them. When it was affected by the tyrannical aura emitted by the little Taichu, it directly exploded, and its body and soul were instantly destroyed. And this was just a small interlude. The four immortal spirits summoned by the little guy approached the undying Ghost Emperor in the blink of an eye. The dark light in the undying Ghost Emperor's eyes was very strong, and it was suffused with green light. He felt the terror of this power, and felt the tyrannical power of the little Taichu. However, at this moment, he regained his senses and glanced at Lin Tian. The light of greed was still there. Boom! An extremely shocking aura surged from his body, and then it met the four immortal spirits of the little Taichu. At the same time, the densely packed black talismans in this place vibrated again, and an even more terrifying black light was intertwined. Suddenly, the little Taichu trembled, and the four immortal spirits that it had summoned weakened a lot. At the same time, the aura that it emitted decreased again, and was weakened by several times. Hey! The undying Ghost Emperor laughed sinisterly, staring at Lin Tian. An extremely cold aura surged from his body, and once again, he pounced on Lin Tian. The little Taichu glared, and the six-color divine light surged to meet the attack. Naturally, it would not let the undying Ghost Emperor get close to Lin Tian. Boom! 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 For a moment, the man and the beast fought together, causing divine light to intertwine in this place, and black death chi to surge. The aura emitted by the little Taichu grew weaker and weaker. It stared at the undying Ghost Emperor, and its small body was constantly shaken back. Suppress you! Get him again! The undying Ghost Emperor laughed sinisterly. Suddenly, the black talismans that sealed this place became even more terrifying, and the aura of the little Taichu was suppressed even more. That little beast, it's no match. Speaking of which, why did the undying Ghost Emperor suddenly attack Lin Tian? It doesn't seem like it's because his battle servant was injured by Lin Tian. It seems like he wants to get Lin Tianyi. What exactly is this? There were many cultivators in this place, and these people had already retreated far away, watching the battle between the little Taichu and the undying Ghost Emperor from afar. Some were surprised, and some were puzzled. Lin Tian was sealed in the area suppressed by these black talismans. At this time, he stared at the battle between the little Taichu and the undying Ghost Emperor, and couldn't help but clench his fists. Whooshing Crocodile's expression was ugly, and he gritted his teeth. The little guy is being suppressed. In terms of actual combat strength, the little guy is obviously much stronger than this old ghost, but these black talismans... Ling Yun looked at the black talismans around him, and his expression was ugly. At this time, they were sealed in the black talismans, and their divine and demonic powers were both frozen, so they couldn't do anything. However, they could still speak and make simple movements. Lin Tian looked around and looked at the densely packed black talismans that sealed this place. He stared seriously with his divine eyes of delusion breaker, searching for the essence of these black talismans. This was because at this time, the little Taichu's strength was suppressed by these black talismans. Otherwise, the undying Ghost Emperor wouldn't be a match for the little guy. Therefore, he knew very well that at this time, if he wanted to turn the situation around, he had to decode these black talismans. Buzz! Suddenly, strands of blood-red light intertwined from his stone ring, staining his palm with a trace of blood. Moreover, because of this blood-red light, the originally frozen divine power in his body began to circulate freely and was no longer suppressed like before. He was slightly surprised and quickly swept with his divine sense. He found that, in the space of the stone ring, a thumb-sized blood-red bone was shaking. It was covered with all kinds of strange patterns, and strands of blood-red light were emitted from this finger bone. His expression changed, and he took out the finger bone from the stone ring. This finger bone was obtained when he killed a quasi-emperor-level old corpse in the Good Fortune Treasure Land in the Fourth Heaven. At that time, he couldn't destroy it with the reincarnation map and the pure yang flame, so he felt that this thing was somewhat extraordinary. Therefore, at that time, although he didn't know what it was, he still put it away. Unexpectedly, at this time, this finger bone unexpectedly emitted light on its own, and counteracted the suppression of the black talismans around him. Boy, this is what's going on. Whooshing Crocodile naturally noticed the finger bone that Lin Tian took out and knew where it came from. He was a little surprised. Next to him, Ling Yan also looked over. At this time, because Lin Tian took out this blood bone, the man and the crocodile felt that their suppressed bodies were much lighter, and the power in their bodies could be directly operated freely. Boom! In front, divine power vibrated, and death chi rolled. The little Taichu resisted the attacks of the undead Ghost Emperor, but was forced back again and again. Looking at this scene, Lin Tian stared at the strange thumb-sized blood bone in his hand, and then looked at the black talismans floating in the air around him. His eyes shone brightly. This blood bone, combined with death chi, demon chi, and the aura of the Dragon Ball at that time, should have produced some kind of mutation. Although I still don't know what it is, but it should be able to restrain these black talismans. As he spoke, his right hand shook violently, and golden divine light suddenly sank into the blood bone, and then bloomed from the blood bone, turning into blood-red divine power, surging in the palm of his right hand. Go! He used the Delusion Breaker Divine Eye to capture the position of all the black talismans floating in the air. Then he shook his right hand, and the divine power transformed by the blood bone was released, turning into dense blood-red light rays, attacking all the black talismans. In the blink of an eye, the dense blood-red light rays fell on the black talismans, causing them to tremble all at once. Then cracking sounds were heard, and the black talismans floating in the air began to shatter and explode one after another. It really can restrain them. Lin Tian's eyes suddenly lit up. Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun's eyes widened. It actually shattered these black talismans directly. Chapter 1165. Cracking sounds could be heard continuously as the black talismans collapsed one by one. They were shattered by the bloody light that was intertwined with the power of the blood bone. In the blink of an eye, they were completely destroyed. Those black talismans are all shattered. In this place, many cultivators were shocked. The treasure that was taken from the extreme Yin Temple was actually shattered. Whooshing Crocodile stared at the blood bone in Lin Tian's hand with a shocked expression. This bone is actually so powerful. Something that I accidentally obtained from killing an old ghost actually has such a miraculous ability. Ling Yan was also surprised. Those black talismans were not ordinary. Whooshing Crocodile did not expect that Lin Tianji would be able to shatter these black talismans so easily by injecting his divine power into the blood bone and bringing out a trace of the blood bone's inherent blood-colored light. Lin Tian looked at the blood bone that was the size of a thumb in his hand. His eyes flashed. Fortunately, I left this behind back then. Impossible! The black talisman was destroyed by Lin Tianyi in one blow. The undead Ghost Emperor was shocked and angry. This was his strongest trump card, but now it was shattered by Lin Tian just like that. Immediately, a pitch-black death aura gushed out from his body. It was even more terrifying, and it carried a terrifying corrosive force. Chi-chi sounds rang out in the air like ice, as if it was going to be completely melted in the next moment. Lin Tian stared at the undead Ghost Emperor in front of him and put away the blood bone in his hand. His eyes flashed with a cold light. "Little guy, destroy him," he said to little Taichu. At this moment, without the suppression of the black talisman, he believed that the undead Ghost Emperor was definitely no match for the little guy. When little Taichu heard Lin Tian's voice, it immediately squeaked. Its wings shook, and the six-colored divine light rolled out, directly suppressing the undead Ghost Emperor. At the same time, the immortal spirits roared. The true dragon, immortal phoenix, black tortoise, and vermilion bird appeared again as if they were real. They roared together and suppressed the undead Ghost Emperor together. This time, without the suppression of the black talisman, the decaying death aura gushing out of the undead Ghost Emperor's body was directly shattered by the six-colored divine light. At the same time, the four immortal spirits approached and landed directly on the undead Ghost Emperor. With a poof, They shattered the undead ghost emperor's physical body and turned him into a cloud of black blood mist. Damn it! The undead ghost emperor let out a furious roar. The black blood mist wriggled, and in the blink of an eye, a physical body was reconstructed. However, the body he reconstructed was still rotten and incomplete. Moreover, it seemed to be because it had been shattered once, making it even more rotten than before. It was like a pile of smelly mud. "Yeah!" the little Taichu shouted. Obviously, it was very dissatisfied with the undead ghost emperor. Once again, it bombarded the undead ghost emperor with a large amount of six-colored divine light. With a rumbling sound, the space trembled. The six-colored divine light was like a divine sea. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped the undead ghost emperor. With a puff, the undead ghost emperor was smashed into pieces again. Black blood splattered all over the sky. Undead devour. Black blood surged all over the sky. The undead ghost emperor let out a furious roar. Suddenly, the Black Death aura intertwined into ghostly shadows. It devoured the spiritual energy in all directions and flooded towards the little Taichu. At the same time, the undead ghost emperor's broken flesh and blood once again condensed into a rotten emperor's body. It rushed towards Lin Tian. "You're mine!" With a ferocious expression and greedy eyes, the undead ghost emperor appeared about 10 feet in front of Lin Tian in the blink of an eye. "What do you mean Lin Tian is yours? You pervert! How dare you have designs on a man?" Ling Yun cursed. At the same time, he shrank his neck because the undead ghost emperor's aura was really terrifying. Lin Tian gritted his teeth. The dragon patterns on the soles of his feet intertwined. Under the undead ghost emperor's tyrannical emperor's aura, he used the yin and yang steps to retreat with whooshing crocodile and Ling Yun. They barely moved dozens of feet away. "Don't even think about escaping." The undead ghost emperor raised his hand and grabbed at Lin Tian. It was also at this moment that there was a rumble. The six-colored divine light shook the heavens and the earth. The little Taichu shattered all the dense, ghostly shadows that drowned over. In an instant, it appeared in front of Lin Tian. The wings on its back shook, and a large expanse of six-colored divine light spread out. The undead ghost emperor was shocked and angry. It used the dense, ghostly shadows to suppress the little Taichu. It wanted to temporarily restrain the little Taichu, then suppress Lin Tian and leave. Unexpectedly, the little Taichu instantly destroyed all the ghostly shadows and flashed over. At this moment, facing the six-colored divine light of the little Taichu, it had no choice but to dodge. At the same time, it used a powerful supernatural power to resist. However, the six-colored divine light was too powerful. It really seemed to be able to annihilate everything. In an instant, it suppressed everything. Puff! Blood splattered everywhere. Once again, the undead ghost emperor was smashed to pieces. This, without the black talisman, the undead ghost emperor seems to be, can't do it anymore. That little beast is really, really, really powerful. It's simply crushing. This place made the hearts of all the cultivators palpitate. Lin Tian stared ahead. The undead ghost emperor's black blood mist floated in the air. Beside it, there was a faint light flickering, mixed with an amazing medicinal fragrance. It was the real dragon's sacred medicine. The undead ghost emperor had not put it away before and had been holding it in his hand. At this time, after its body was shattered again, the real dragon's sacred medicine fell into the air. Immediately, a bright light flashed in his eyes. He directly transformed a hand of divine light and grabbed the real dragon's sacred medicine. "How dare you?" After the undead ghost emperor's body was shattered, the black blood mist surged and turned into a wave of emperor's power. It pressed down on Lin Tian's big hand that was grabbing the sacred medicine. "Yeah!" the little Taichu shouted. The six-colored divine light pressed down and shattered the undead ghost emperor's power that was attacking Lin Tian. At the same time, Lin Tianyi grabbed the real dragon's sacred medicine and directly pulled it to his side. "I got it." A bright light flashed in his eyes. At this time, when he grabbed the real dragon's sacred medicine, he immediately felt an extremely rich aura of life. It was as if he had grabbed a source of life, causing his essence, chi, and spirit to become much stronger in an instant. His cultivation seemed to have improved as well. As expected of a sacred medicine, he thought to himself. Next to him, Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun's eyes lit up. They had come for the real dragon's sacred medicine. At this time, Lin Tian had succeeded in grabbing this sacred medicine. Moreover, it was from the hands of an emperor. Naturally, they were excited. At the same time, the other cultivators in this place were also moved. At this time, they stared at Lin Tian with a look of surprise. The real dragon's sacred medicine was a Nirvana realm cultivator snatched something from an emperor. This is simply. It's mainly because the little beast beside him is too powerful. 100,000 years of life. These cultivators stared at Lin Tian with shock and envy. Boom! Black Inchi rolled, and the undead ghost emperor reassembled his body. His eyes shone with green light, and he was even more furious. With a whoosh, the undead ghost emperor pounced on Lin Tian again. And you're mine too. Lin Tian stared at the undead ghost emperor, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He casually waved his right hand and put away the real dragon's sacred medicine. Little guy, use your full strength, he said to the little Taichu. Yeah, the little Taichu responded. The wings on his back flapped 3 times in a row. The 6-colored divine light surged out and turned into a 6-colored storm. In an instant, it swept the undead ghost emperor and crushed him into pieces. Ah! The undead ghost emperor roared and reassembled his body again. However, at this moment, the little Taichu directly pressed over. The 6-colored divine light suppressed him from all directions. Decay of the world! The undead ghost emperor roared. With a rumbling sound, a shocking fluctuation of Tao laws surged out from his body, causing the entire world to tremble. The void collapsed, the earth was destroyed, and even the air was corroded. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. This Tao law was a little terrifying. It was as if it could really corrode everything in the world, and it annihilated some of the 6-colored divine light. However, the 6-colored divine light was still very powerful, and the decaying Tao law that the undead ghost emperor had unleashed was eventually crushed into pieces. Then, the 6-colored divine light once again enveloped the undead ghost emperor and crushed him into pieces. The undead ghost emperor roared and reassembled his body. The death aura was very strong, and he shook out one divine technique after another. However, the little Taichu was too strong. The 6-colored divine light swept through everything, and there was nothing it could not destroy. Poof! In the blink of an eye, the undead ghost emperor was crushed again. He was completely defeated. Without those black talismans, the undead ghost emperor can't stop this little beast. So strong. In this place, a group of cultivators stared at the little Taichu with astonishment in their eyes. They were shocked by the little Taichu's strength. This little fellow's true strength is truly unfathomable. Whooshing Crocodile clicked his tongue. Looking at the situation, it's at least at the 8th heaven of the Emperor realm. It might even be at the 9th heaven of the Emperor realm. Ling Yin also said. Lin Tian stared ahead, and his eyes were shining. The little Taichu's strength was really too strong. Boom! In front, the 6-colored divine light vibrated, and the death aura rolled, shaking the 9 heavens. Then, in the next moment, the undead ghost emperor was crushed again with a poof. Damn it! The undead ghost emperor was shocked and angry. Its green eyes stared at Lin Tian, and its greed was still there. Then it turned around and fled into the distance. At this time, it had lost the black talisman. It was very clear that it was no match for the little Taichu. If it continued to stay, it would be completely wiped out in the end. Little guy, don't let it go. Lin Tian stared at the escaping undead ghost emperor and said to the little Taichu, Of course, the little guy knew what to do. The six-colored divine light vibrated and sealed the surroundings, blocking the undead ghost emperor. At the same time, the little guy flapped its wings, and a large area of six-colored divine light covered the undead ghost emperor, crushing it again. Ah! The undead ghost emperor roared, reassembled its physical body, and fled again. However, the little Taichu's strength was too strong. The six-colored divine light was vast and mighty, and the undead ghost emperor could not escape at all. After its body was crushed again, the undead ghost emperor knew that it was difficult to escape from the little Taichu. It turned its head to look at Lin Tian, and its sunken eyes glowed with eerie green light. Ask it to let me go. If it attacks again, I will use a secret technique to spread the secrets of your physique to the entire 10-direction celestial domain. At that time, countless old antiques and monsters will find you. Chapter 1166. Upon hearing the undying ghost emperor's words, Lin Tian's expression suddenly froze, and the cold light in his eyes instantly became more intense. At the same time, the other cultivators in this place revealed curious expressions. They looked at the undying ghost emperor and then at Lin Tian, their faces full of suspicion. Secret of the physique? What do you mean? A cultivator asked. Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun couldn't help but look at Lin Tian. Kid, what's the secret of the physique? What is this old guy talking about? The man and Crocodile looked at Lin Tian, also very puzzled. In front of them, the undying ghost emperor's rotting body was gasping for breath. He was already on the verge of death, and his aura was extremely weak. He stared at Lin Tian, and the green light in his bird's nest became even more intense. His voice was ferocious and sinister as he spoke again. Tell him to stop immediately. Let me leave. Do you want to become the prey of a group of old antiques and old monsters? Lin Tian's eyes became even colder as he stared at the undying ghost emperor. Are you threatening me? At this point, he was completely sure that the undying ghost emperor had definitely seen through his reincarnation imperial physique. Once the undying ghost emperor really exposed this, he would definitely become the target of public criticism. Many of the old monsters in the 10 Directions heavenly domain would probably find him immediately. After all, his reincarnation origin was undoubtedly countless times more tempting than the Saint Elixir. Not really. I'm just telling the truth, the undying ghost emperor said coldly. Lin Tian stared at the undying ghost emperor coldly. If I let you go now, you'll secretly plan a better, stronger, and more perfect method, and then find me and seize my physical origin. So what? You don't have a better choice. The undying ghost emperor sneered. Compared to being targeted by all the old monsters in the 10 Directions heavenly domain, there's no doubt that being targeted by me alone will give you less pressure, right? Isn't it safer? Lin Tian's face suddenly became even colder, and his eyes were as sharp as a divine sword. Your analysis is very reasonable. The undying ghost emperor laughed sinisterly. It's good that you understand this point. Now let's... But... Lin Tian interrupted him. His eyes were sharp and cold. I hate it when people threaten me. He stared at the undead ghost emperor. Do you think you can show off now that you've caught my weakness? Can you step on my head? You think you can force me to submit? I just won't satisfy you. Kill them all. He was indeed very fearful of the undying ghost emperor's threat, but he was not willing to give in because of this. If he did, it would be too cowardly. The sinister smile on the undead ghost emperor's face froze. You destroy him, Lin Tian said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, the little Taichu moved again. This time, with a rumbling sound, the six-colored divine light burst out again. Like a six-colored sea, it rushed into the sky, covering all directions, and mercilessly crushing the undead ghost emperor. All of a sudden, cracking sounds could be heard as the surrounding space cracked open. A terrifying power that carried a divine aura surged out in all directions. With a puff, the undead ghost emperor was directly shattered into pieces. Yeah! The little Taichu made a sound, and an even more turbulent six-colored divine light surged. At the same time, the four great immortal spirits appeared together. The true dragon coiled in the east, the immortal phoenix flapped its wings in the west, the black tortoise opened up the sea in the south, and the vermilion bird soared up to the north. They all rushed toward the undead Ghost Emperor. In an instant, the space shook. The undead Ghost Emperor's already shattered flesh became even more shattered, and his aura suddenly decreased greatly. Ah! Damn, Junior! The undead Ghost Emperor screamed and roared. You will pay for your arrogance. Boom! As soon as this person finished speaking, a pitch-black light rushed up, and cold air rushed in all directions. Lin Tian's eyes shot out two rays of cold light. He said to the little Taichu, "Little guy, stop them and seal the space here." Looking at the pitch-black light, his intuition told him that the undead Ghost Emperor wanted to tell the outside world about him. The little Taichu responded, and the six-colored divine light spread out in an arc. In the blink of an eye, it blocked in front of the pitch-black light, forming an indestructible six-colored barrier, completely sealing this place and suppressing everything. It's useless. This is a secret technique that I cast with my life essence. Unless the ancient heavenly venerables take action, no one can stop it. The undead Ghost Emperor roared. If you want to kill me, don't think that you will have an easy time. All the old monsters in the 10 heavens will find you, suppress you, and divide you up. Then you will die even more miserably than me. As soon as its words fell, the pitch-black light directly penetrated the six-colored barrier erected by the little Taichu, spreading to every corner of the 9th heaven, and spreading to the lower 8 heavens. Each of these black lights was a divine sense imprint, mixed with the Empyrean level essence of the undying Ghost Emperor. Each of them showed the appearance of Lin Tian, and each of them contained the special life form essence that the undying Ghost Emperor saw through Lin Tian's body. Mixed with the divine sense of the undying Ghost Emperor, the voice of the undying Ghost Emperor spread across the 1st heaven to the 9th heaven in an instant. The strongest monarch body, reincarnation, has appeared. You want to challenge Samsara? You want the essence of Samsara? Find him. This kind of divine sense imprint, this kind of divine sense, interweaving in every corner of the 10 heavens. From the 1st to the 9th heavens, almost every creature could see and hear it, causing the entire 10 heavens to shake. The 1st heaven, the Valley of the Harp, Lin Tian, he's a reincarnated body. Jiyu, Sushu, and Shuiyi, the 3 women were cultivating in the Valley of the Harp. Bai Qiu also came here after watching her mother's coffin. At this time, all of them had a change of expression. Is he really a reincarnated body? Bai Qiu trembled slightly. In the past, she once used a trace of her life essence to explore Lin Tian's life essence, but she didn't succeed at that time. She was blocked by Lin Tian's life essence. At that time, she joked that Lin Tian might be the strongest reincarnated body in the legends, but she didn't expect that such a divine sense imprint would appear in the 1st heaven, showing the appearance of Lin Tian, showing the special life essence, interweaving with the aura of an emperor-level powerhouse, calling Lin Tian the reincarnated body. He's in danger. What should we do? Shuiyi was anxious. At the same time, Sushu and Bai Qiu were also anxious. Even Jiyu, who had always been calm and composed, was a little flustered at this time. They were practitioners and naturally knew about the 12 king bodies. Among them, the reincarnated body that had never appeared before was called the strongest king body. Compared to it, the other 11 king bodies were nothing. This king body that had never appeared before was full of mysteries. Even the ancient celestial venerable once said, once reincarnation appears, there will be no king body in the world. It was enough to show how amazing the reincarnated body was. Once such a king body appeared and was known to the world, it would definitely be a great disaster. Many reclusive grand completion king bodies and old monsters whose lifespans were about to run out would come out one by one and find out. Now, someone had exposed the secret of Lin Tian's physique, and it seemed to be an emperor-level powerhouse who exposed it. This kind of thing couldn't be faked, and no one would doubt it. Based on this, as a reincarnated body, Lin Tian was in danger. Every old monster and antique in the 10th heaven would hear the news and come to find him. What should we do? The four women were anxious, but there was nothing they could do. At the same time, in the Valley of the Harp, the current lord of the Valley of the Harp, Yu Wushuang, also saw this divine sense imprint. Her eyes were full of shock, and her body couldn't help but tremble a few times. Reincarnated body, Lin Tian, he's a reincarnated body. The legendary strongest king body that had never appeared before? This? Yu Wushuang had always known that Lin Tian was very powerful and monstrous. Over the years, she had been surprised by Lin Tian many times. She was almost used to Lin Tian's monstrous strength, or it could be said that she had been numb to Lin Tian's monstrous strength. But now, she was shocked again, an unprecedented shock. Lin Tian turned out to be the legendary reincarnated body. First Heaven, Burning Sun Sect. The disciples of the Burning Sun Sect naturally knew about the divine sense imprint and divine sense imprint transmitted by the immortal Ghost Emperor. At this moment, everyone was trembling in shock. Senior Brother Lin is a reincarnated body? The strongest king body that has never appeared before, the strongest king body that can suppress all physiques and bloodlines. Our Burning Sun Sect has the strongest reincarnated body? In the Burning Sun Sect, the disciples were shocked. At the same time, the Supreme Elder of the Burning Sun Sect, the Sect Master of the Burning Sun Sect, and several elders of the Burning Sun Sect all had a change of expression. Lin Tian, that kid, the Supreme Elder of the Burning Sun Sect, trembled slightly, obviously shocked by this matter. Next to him, the Sect Master of the Burning Sun Sect was also stunned, in a daze. Even the hot-tempered Tu Ming was stunned. That kid, he's actually, in the back mountain of the Burning Sun Sect, a beautiful woman in green stood in a forest. Naturally, she also knew about this matter. Looking at the divine sense imprint sent by the immortal Ghost Emperor in the sky, she was slightly absent-minded. Changfeng, you've accepted an amazing disciple. Boom! The surging Emperor's pressure rushed out from the depths of the back mountain of the Burning Sun Sect, instantly enveloping the entire First Heaven. This Emperor's might was too vast as the starry sky. Mixed with killing intent, it instantly shattered the immortal Ghost Emperor's divine sense imprint of Lin Tian's Samsara avatar that he had sent into the First Heaven. The woman in green looked at the back mountain, her eyes filled with unconcealable gentleness. You're angry. I haven't seen you this angry for many years. Then, the woman looked at the sky. Lin Tian, you must be safe. Second Heaven by family. My family's son-in-law is actually a reincarnated body. All the disciples of the Bai family naturally saw the divine sense imprint sent by the immortal Ghost Emperor, and they were all stunned. At the same time, all the great figures of the Bai family were also shocked and aghast. At this moment, all of them were trembling. Lin Tian, the old ancestor of the Bai family, was dumbfounded, staring blankly at the scene before him. At the same time, the other great forces and rogue cultivators of the Second Heaven, as well as the great forces and cultivators of the Third Heaven to the Ninth Heaven, also saw the divine sense imprint sent by the immortal Ghost Emperor about Lin Tian's reincarnated body. All of them were shocked, and some were speechless. In an instant, the whole world was shocked. Moreover, this divine sense imprint had spread even further to an even more mysterious area. Chapter 1167. As the undying ghostly emperor's spiritual imprint spread out, the entire 10 Directions Heaven domain was in an uproar. Every major faction was shocked, and every cultivator was shocked. The legendary reincarnation avatar had appeared in the entire 10 Directions Heaven domain. Whether they knew Lin Tian or not, whether they were Lin Tian's friends or Lin Tian's enemies, they were all stunned. Many couldn't help but tremble. That Lin Tian, he's actually a reincarnation avatar? The strongest monarch body? He destroyed several hidden strongholds of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty, killed many half-step emperors of the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty, killed the young master of the Great Extinguishing God sect, slaughtered the Great Extinguishing God Dynasty's main tribe. No wonder he's so strong. He. On this day, the undying ghostly emperor used his emperor rank origin source to cast a strange secret technique. The spiritual imprint spread far and wide. Almost every living being in the 10 Directions Heaven Domain could see it, and the entire 10 Directions Heaven Domain was in an uproar. In a dark space, surrounded by crimson stones and red sand, an 11 or 12-year-old fairy-like girl opened her eyes in the darkness. The sun, moon, and stars floated in her eyes, and an unparalleled emperor's aura spread out in all directions. In the next moment, in the Demon Lord's palace in the 9th Heaven Domain, the ancient Demon Lord's pagoda shone with immortal divine light that covered the entire Demon Lord's palace. An 11 or 12-year-old girl's phantom appeared at the top of the pagoda, looking down at the world. The demonic aura rolled out, shaking the heavens and earth. Demon Lord? Within the Demon Emperor Palace, all the important figures of this faction were shocked by the matter of Lin Tian's reincarnation body. At this moment, the Demon Emperor Pagoda blossomed with radiance and revealed this illusory figure, causing all these experts to be shocked once again. Every single one of them revealed a shocked expression as they immediately rushed to the vicinity of the Demon Emperor Pagoda and bowed towards the illusory figure of the Demon Emperor Pagoda. Even a few eternal demon emperors of this faction came out to pay their respects. They looked a little old and were extremely respectful to the Demon Lord's pagoda. "Greetings, Demon Lord." The group of important figures bowed deeply. They were both shocked and excited. The invincible demon emperor of their lineage had left the Demon Emperor Palace in ancient times, and no one had been able to find a trace of him. It had been more than 10,000 years since then, and they had been looking forward to the return of the Demon Emperor all the time. But now, at this time, their emperor, who had been missing for more than 10,000 years, had actually appeared in the form of an emperor. How could they not be excited? At the top of the Demon King Pagoda, the 11 or 12-year-old girl looked like a fairy. She was barefooted, but at this moment, she exuded an oppressive imperial aura. It was as if she wanted to suppress this heaven and earth, causing the sky to tremble. Protect the reincarnated body at all costs. Protect my brother. The oppressive voice reverberated throughout the entire Demon King Palace. The 9th heaven, the eastern region. In the eastern region, the spirit chi was abundant, and the mountains and rivers were astonishing. It was as if there were 10,000 dragons sleeping in this region. Within this region, in the depths of the sea of clouds, mountain ranges rose up one after another. The tallest one almost reached into the starry sky. "Master, it's Big Brother." Big Brother is actually a reincarnated body, so powerful. On the top of this mountain, a beautiful girl in red pulled the skirt of a woman in a white dress. She looked very surprised, but then she seemed to think of something, and a worried look appeared on her face. She shook the arm of the woman in white dress. "Master, Big Brother is in danger." The woman in white dress stood on the top of the mountain, as if she had walked out of a painting. She was quiet and cold, and her beautiful face made the world slightly lose its color. "Let's go out for a walk," she said. She didn't move her lips, but her voice vibrated with divine sense. It was soft and gentle, causing the 3,000 great Tao to jump. The 9th heaven, the northern region, in the continuous mountain range, Lin Tian's face was cold, and he clenched his fists. The undead ghost emperor really passed on the secret of his physique. This big secret that he had been hiding all this time was made known to everyone, just like that. He's reincarnated body. He's actually a reincarnated body? In this place, a group of cultivators stared at Lin Tian. They were all shocked, horrified, and couldn't help but tremble. Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun were the most shocked. At this moment, their eyes fell on Lin Tian like the other cultivators. "Kid, you are actually a reincarnated body?" This. One man and one crocodile opened their eyes wide, full of horror. At this moment, they were really shocked. The person beside them, their incomparably familiar friend and comrade, was actually a reincarnated body. Reincarnated body. That was the strongest physique in the truest sense. Only the Taichu seemed very normal at this time, because the little guy had just been born, and his temperament was still like a child's. He didn't understand these things very well, and didn't understand the meaning of reincarnated body. Ha ha! Maniacal laughter rang out at this moment. The undying ghost emperor was not dead yet, and he barely managed to reform his physical body. He stared at Lin Tian ferociously and said, "Junior, just you wait. Soon, there will be one old monster after another coming for you. They will suppress you, and then dig out your reincarnation origin. You will die miserably, very miserably." Lin Tian's face was extremely cold. He stared at the undead ghost emperor, his eyes full of murderous intent. "Destroy him," he said to the little Taichu. Little Taichu felt the murderous intent on Lin Tian's body, and the wings on his back shook violently. Suddenly, a large amount of six-colored divine light gushed out, stronger than any of the previous times. It turned into a six-colored divine sea, directly covering the undead ghost emperor. "Ah!" A scream was heard, followed by a moment of silence. The undead ghost emperor's body and soul were directly annihilated by the six-colored divine light. His body and soul were destroyed. However, at this time, the crowd of cultivators was not moved by the undying ghost emperor's death. Their eyes were still fixed on Lin Tian, and their eyes were full of shock. They were all shocked by the fact that Lin Tian was a reincarnated body. Kid Yu Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun were like the cultivators here. They completely ignored the undead ghost emperor, who had been killed by the little Taichu. At this moment, their eyes were glued to Lin Tian, as if they were looking at an immortal god. Lin Tian gritted his teeth. "Don't you, hurry up and leave. Leave this place." At this time, the secret of his physique was exposed. He had to leave this place immediately and find a hidden place to hide. Otherwise, the consequences would be very serious. He called the little Taichu back to his side, and then called out to the Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun. He directly stepped forward and shot into the distance. However, in the next moment, a shocking emperor's aura descended. It was cold and frosty, directly freezing the surrounding space. Reincarnation body. Found it. Chapter 1168. The Emperor's aura intertwined and shrouded the surrounding space, making it seem cold and icy. The void cracked open, and a figure stepped out. It was a withered old man with a pair of demonic blue eyes. As soon as he appeared, his gaze fell on Lin Tian. "Buzz!" The entire space shook, and the withered old man directly moved. He reached out a large hand and grabbed Lin Tian. For a moment, the Emperor's law covered all directions and directly covered Lin Tian, freezing all the surrounding space. All of the cultivators in this place were visibly moved. "It's for the reincarnation body," someone said. At this time, these cultivators knew too well that the withered old man must have seen the imprint of the immortal ghost emperor's divine sense and rushed here at this time. Needless to say, he was here for the reincarnation origin. Lin Tian gritted his teeth. "He's really fast." In the sky, the withered old man's eyes were cold, and the emperor's power in his large hand became denser. "I want the reincarnation origin." With a buzz, the space trembled and distorted under the emperor's large hand, as if it was about to collapse in the next moment. "Little guy," Lin Tian said in a cold voice. The little Taichu responded, and the wings on its back shook. Suddenly, a large expanse of six-colored divine light rushed forward. In an instant, the withered old man's large hand collided with the six-colored divine light, and then it was directly crushed. Moreover, the six-colored divine light did not stop there. Its momentum did not decrease, and it pressed down on the withered old man's body. The withered old man obviously did not expect the little beast next to Lin Tian to be so powerful. His expression changed immediately. This is Puff. The six-colored divine light drowned him, and directly caused his emperor's body to explode, and blood stained the surroundings. At this moment, Lin Tian didn't care about the withered old man at all. He said to little Taichu, "Little guy, tear open the void and leave this place as fast as you can." The secret of his physique had been exposed by the undying ghost emperor. He knew without thinking that there would soon be other antiques besides the withered old man chasing after him. Therefore, he had to leave immediately and find a place to hide temporarily. At this moment, he had no time to deal with the withered old man. The little Taichu responded, and with a swipe of its little claws, it tore open a large crack. Reincarnation body, kid. You're actually a reincarnation body. This is really... Ling Yun's eyes widened in shock. Until now, he had yet to regain his senses. Reincarnation body. Reincarnation body. Like Ling Yun, Five Elements Crocodile's eyes were wide open. His eyes and face were filled with shock. He stared at Lin Tian and murmured, "Grandpa Crocodile finally understands why your physical body is always so abnormal. It is even stronger than the barbarian king physique of the same level. I finally understand why you attracted the heavenly tribulation when you reached the flight realm. I finally understand why, after the immortal ascension realm, you will continue to attract the heavenly tribulation every time you cross a realm. It turns out that it is all related to your physique. It is actually the kind of physique that has never appeared in legends." The man and crocodile stared at Lin Tian. They were really shocked to the point of no return. They were completely stunned. "Swallow your surprise first. Leave this place immediately," Lin Tian said, using the yin-yang lotus sea to vibrate his voice. The yin-yang lotus sea intertwined the two primitive forces of yin and yang. When combined, it had the effect of calming the mind. Suddenly, Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun's bodies shook, and they became much more awake in an instant. Yes, Wuxing Crocodile said. "Now is not the time to be surprised. Let's leave this place and hide first." Go quickly," Ling Yun said. At this time, the man and crocodile naturally knew what kind of situation Lin Tian was in. It was too dangerous. It could be said that it was more dangerous than being absorbed into the extreme Yin Temple. They had to hide immediately. At that moment, Lin Tian took the lead, and the group stepped forward. They stepped into the large crack in the void that little Taichu had torn open. Boom! The sky shook violently as Emperor Qi rolled. A few bolts of lightning struck and directly shattered the crack in the void that little Taichu had torn open. In the distant sky, an old man in a blue robe stepped out, surrounded by Emperor Qi. Buzz! This person's Emperor Qi was extremely shocking. He was much stronger than the withered old man who had arrived at the beginning. After appearing in this place, he directly wrapped his right hand with the Emperor's law and grabbed at Lin Tian. Without a doubt, he was here for Lin Tian's reincarnation entity origin. This person is... He seems to be the immortal Lan Lei from 10,000 years ago. Yes, that's right. The immortal Lan Lei used the Imperial Thunder technique to shock the world. Didn't they say that he had died from his lifespan? He's still alive? At this place, there were cultivators who recognized the old man in blue robes. They were all shocked. Wisps of lightning intertwined in the immortal Lan Lei's eyes. The large hand that was reaching for Lin Tian was also surrounded by lightning. Even if I use the secret technique to suppress my body, my lifespan can only last for a few hundred more years. This person spoke. His eyes that were intertwined with lightning looked extremely deep. He looked at Lin Tiandao and said, "With your strongest reincarnation entity origin, this old man can live another life. The future will be filled with endless possibilities." As he spoke, the large hand that was pressing down on Lin Tian became stronger. His aura was majestic. Lin Tian's expression became extremely serious. This immortal Lan Lei was very scary. Yeah. On his shoulder, the little Taichu stretched out its claws and slashed fiercely. The six-colored divine light instantly scattered, and directly enveloped the immortal Lan Lei's arm. Just like the withered old man before, it was crushed with a poof and blood dyed the sky. The immortal Lan Lei, is said to have reached the peak of the sixth heaven of the Emperor realm. That little beast can actually... How strong is it? All the cultivators were shocked. The immortal Lan Lei stared at the little Taichu. His eyes narrowed, but then they fell on Lin Tian again. His eyes were intertwined with astonishing divine light. With a low shout, he directly summoned a large net condensed from divine light and covered the front. As the divine light net appeared, many great Daos in the surrounding space were annihilated. The aura was very terrifying. The divine net hummed and intertwined with astonishing imperial light. It directly covered the little Taichu. Immediately after, the immortal Lan Lei stepped forward. While using the divine net to restrain the little Taichu, he once again grabbed at Lin Tian. At the same time, in another direction, the withered old man who was crushed by the little Taichu didn't die. At this moment, he reformed his body. Although he had a strong fear of the little Taichu, when he saw Lin Tian, his eyes lit up again. He directly activated a great divine ability and intertwined the Emperor Law. Once again, he grabbed at Lin Tian. This was because the temptation of Lin Tian, who was a reincarnated body, was too great. It was countless times stronger than the sacred medicine. How could he give it up so easily? In an instant, as the two great emperors attacked together, the surrounding space was completely sealed. This caused Lin Tian to feel an enormous pressure. Before the power of the two great emperors truly pressed down, his body was already in intense pain. All the bones in his body couldn't help but creak as if they were going to explode at the next moment. Squeak! The little Taichu seemed a little angry. The wings on his back shook violently 3 times, directly drawing out 3 six-colored hurricanes. With a rumble, the divine net that the immortal Lan Lei activated was directly torn apart by one of the 6-colored hurricanes. At the same time, the other 2 6-colored hurricanes swept by, instantly engulfing the immortal Lan Lei and the withered old man who arrived first. The two of them were shocked. They activated their powerful divine powers, wanting to shatter the 6-colored hurricane. However, they soon discovered that the 6-colored hurricane was unimaginably tough. It was difficult to shatter it. Moreover, a destructive force began to erupt from within. How can it be so strong? It should. Both of them turned pale. However, in the next moment, their words were forcefully interrupted. The 2 6-colored hurricanes directly exploded. Puff! Puff! Blood mist sputtered. The immortal Lan Lei and the withered old man were directly blown to pieces by the 6-colored hurricanes. Their auras suddenly dropped greatly. At the same time, the true dragon divine shadow and the phoenix celestial shadow appeared beside the little Taichu and pressed down on the 2 shattered bodies. Have mercy! I will retreat immediately. I will never... The withered old man's divine soul shouted. However, in the next moment, he let out a scream as he was completely enveloped by the phoenix celestial shadow. Then, with a soft sound, this person's body and soul were destroyed on the spot. Boom! On the other side, the immortal Lan Lei was covered by the true dragon divine shadow. He activated a sky full of divine thunder and several emperor laws. He resisted with difficulty, but he seemed to be in a very sorry state. His aura was much weaker than before, almost falling to the bottom. At this moment, he stared at the little Taichu again. This once famous emperor felt a chill down his spine. How could it be? He stared at the little Taichu and couldn't help but take a step back. He was completely intimidated by the little Taichu. Just now, in order to suppress Lin Tian and take him away as quickly as possible, he had already used all of his strength. He activated the most powerful divine net to restrain the little Taichu and used the most powerful emperor law to suppress Lin Tian. However, even so, the little Taichu easily obliterated everything. He shattered his divine net, interrupted his emperor law to suppress Lin Tian, and caused him to suffer unimaginable injuries. The little Taichu looked at the immortal Lan Lei. The six-colored divine light around his body interweaved and surged, shaking the sky. These six-colored divine lights surged and surged, mixed with a type of divine fluctuation. They were all aimed at the immortal Lan Lei. The immortal Lan Lei couldn't help but tremble. He immediately felt the threat of death. Lin Tian stopped the little Taichu and said, "Don't worry about him. Let's leave first." Boom! The tyrannical emperor's might surged like a violent storm in the distant sky, directly interrupting his next words. In the northwest, a figure shrouded in black light appeared. With a single step, he crossed tens of thousands of feet. After that, almost in the next moment, astonishing emperors might appeared in the other 7 directions. All of them were mixed with coldness and depth, causing the sky to change color and the ground to tremble. Chapter 1169. After Reverend Lan Lei, 8 Emperor Realm experts appeared at the same time. All of them were exuding a powerful and cold Emperor Realm aura. In the blink of an eye, they appeared in the mountain range. The surging Emperor Realm aura was like a rolling ocean, shaking the entire heaven and earth. Eight Emperor Realm experts? Many cultivators had already retreated far away from this place. When they saw so many Emperor Realm experts, all of them trembled. At the same time, some of these cultivators recognized the identities of the 8 Emperor Realm experts one after another. The one surrounded by black light, isn't that Demon Master Luo Yu from more than 70,000 years ago? That's the 9 Mystic Fire Emperor from 40,000 years ago. That person, Honorable Jingwu, Taoist Knightless from more than 80,000 years ago. He is the Yin Song ancestor from more than 90,000 years ago. The Emperor Realm experts were all famous in the world and had left behind glorious records in ancient books. Therefore, any cultivator who had read the history books of cultivation would more or less know about a few Emperor Realm experts. After seeing them, they would be able to recognize them. These people, aren't they rumored to have died of old age? How could... At this place, all the cultivators were shocked, including that Reverend Lan Lei. There are a total of 9 Emperor Realm experts. Moreover, none of them are weak. These old farts. Wuxing Crocodile's expression was not good. Ling Yun's expression was also solemn. Lin Tian stared at the Emperor Realm experts and felt a chill down his spine. Because at this moment, these Emperor Realm experts were all charging towards him. Their gazes and divine senses all landed on him. This gave him too much pressure, almost suffocating him. Reincarnation body. Reincarnation origin. Demon Master Luo Yu, who was surrounded by black light, stared at Lin Tian. The black light in his eyes intertwined like 2 black holes. At the same time, in other directions, the other Emperor Realm experts' gazes also landed on Lin Tian. These emperors glanced at each other warily. In the next instant, all of them moved. At this moment, Reverend Lan Lei was standing far away. He didn't charge at Lin Tian with the other emperors because he was very afraid of little Taichu. He didn't dare to charge at Lin Tian directly because he knew that little Taichu would definitely obstruct him. However, even so, he didn't leave. Instead, he silently watched as the other 8 emperors charged towards Lin Tian. His gaze shifted between the little Taichu and Lin Tian. He was waiting for a suitable opportunity to make his move. Boom! In that instant, Emperor Might surged, all of it surging towards Lin Tian. The entire heavens began to tremble, the earth rupturing. This scene was somewhat terrifying, causing the hearts of all the cultivators in the area to tremble. Lin Tian himself felt his insides turn cold. Wang! Little Taichu stood in front of Lin Tian. Its small body seemed to have turned into a 6-colored sun. At this moment, it directly rushed out. The 6-colored divine light spread out in a circular arc, blocking Demon Master Fallen Serenity and the other 8 emperors. Evil creature, back off! Venerable startled Marshal said coldly. Die! Taoist Knightless said with a merciless voice. Turn into ashes. 9 Mystic Fire Emperors said. At the same time, the other 5 emperors attacked together. Each of them had powerful emperor chi. Their killing lights suppressed little Taichu at the same time. They were all emperor realm experts in the past. They had lived for countless years and didn't have much lifespan left. All this time, they had been using secret techniques to suppress their own bodies, greatly slowing down the loss of their lifespan. Even so, their lifespan was about to dry up. At this moment, Lin Tian's physique was exposed. A never-before-seen and mysterious reincarnation manifested in the legendary world. To these people, this was undoubtedly a peerless immortal opportunity. As long as they obtained the strongest and most mysterious reincarnation origin, they believed that they could definitely live a new life and break through to new heights. Boom! Emperor Qi surged like a stormy sea. With a swoosh, this void was directly destroyed. The scene was terrifying. These old farts, the weakest is at the 7th level of the Emperor realm. Whooshing Crocodile gritted his teeth. Lin Tian's expression was naturally ugly. He stared at little Taichu in front of him. At this moment, only little Taichu could fight back. Little Taichu stared at these old emperors. The 6-colored divine light became denser as it faced the attack. At the same time, the little guy flapped his wings. The true dragon, Immortal Phoenix, Black Tortoise, and Vermilion Bird, the 4 legendary immortal essences appeared again, shaking the sky. Boom! 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 Terrifying energy intertwined and spread in all directions. The surrounding space couldn't help but tremble and shatter. Little Taichu's 6-colored divine light intertwined around his body. He fought against 8 of them alone and firmly blocked all 8 of them. This completely blocked the 8 of them. So strong. Far away, a group of cultivators stared at little Taichu in shock. Lin Tian's expression was very solemn. At this moment, he could see that although little Taichu had completely blocked Demon Master Luo Yu and the other old emperors, he didn't have the upper hand. This little guy is very strong, but these 8 people aren't weak either. Fighting against 8 of them alone is probably the little guy's limit. Whooshing Crocodile clenched his claws. Please don't let any more old monsters jump out. Ling Yin clenched his fists. Boom! At this moment, Emperor Qi vibrated. A figure appeared in the distant sky. He was wearing a black battle suit and stepped over in the blink of an eye. Another emperor. At this place, a group of cultivators turned pale. The figure wearing the black battle suit arrived in the blink of an eye. He activated the Great Thousand Emperor technique and shrouded Lin Tian with his Emperor Qi. Without a doubt, he was here for Lin Tian's reincarnated body. Buzz! In front of him, little Taichu flapped his wings. The 6-colored divine light swept out in an arc. While blocking Demon Master Luo Yu and the other old emperors, it also swept the figure wearing the black battle suit away, preventing him from getting close to Lin Tian. The figure wearing the black battle suit narrowed his eyes. His Emperor Qi exploded in all directions as he attacked little Taichu. Get lost! At the same time, Demon Master Luo Yu and the other 8 emperors attacked little Taichu with all their might. They attacked with powerful emperor-level killing techniques. At this moment, if they wanted to capture Lin Tian and obtain the reincarnation origin, they would have to defeat little Taichu first. At this moment, little Taichu had become everyone's common enemy. All their killing techniques were directed at little Taichu. Die! Cold voices intertwined with terrifying Emperor Qi. Little Taichu had already reached his limit by blocking Demon Master Luo Yu and the other old emperors. At this moment, he forcefully swept the newly arrived old emperor wearing the black battle suit away. From 1 against 8, it became 1 against 9. Little Taichu was at a disadvantage. Little Taichu's little body was swaying left and right under the combined attacks of the 9 emperors. The situation was not optimistic. Little guy. Lin Tian clenched his fists tightly. Seeing little Taichu trembling under the combined attacks of the 9 emperors, his heart ached. He couldn't help but take a step forward. At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Not far away, Reverend Lan Lei, who had been watching the battle, charged over with lightning. Reincarnation origin, this great one wants it, this person said coldly. While little Taichu was fighting the other 9 emperors, and while Lin Tian was distracted from worrying about little Taichu, he took this opportunity to flash in front of Lin Tian. His emperor rank hand covered the sky and grabbed at Lin Tian. He immediately covered Lin Tian. Damn it, old thing you. Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun's expressions changed greatly. Wang. The heaven-covering emperor hand covered Lin Tian and suppressed everything. You dare to touch the demon emperor's brother. You are courting death. Chapter 1170. The shocking power of sound shook the 9 heavens, shattering Immortal Lan Lei's big hand that was about to grab Lin Tian. The Emperor Qi was terrifying. Looking over, in the east of this place, a gray demonic aura covered the sky. 3 Emperor Phantoms came together, each emitting a powerful Emperor Qi. In an instant, everyone in this place was greatly alarmed. Demon King Palace? It's the 3 Emperor-level Grand Elders of this lineage. They're all here. They are helping the reincarnated body. Many cultivators were shocked. Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun were shocked. Then they looked happy. Boy, the reinforcements are here. They both knew the relationship between Lin Tian and the Demon King. Now that the Emperor-level experts of the Demon King Palace had come to help, they could naturally guess the reason. They must have been ordered by the Demon King. Lin Tian was also a little moved. He obviously did not expect this scene. However, like Whooshing Crocodile and Ling Yun, he could naturally guess that the Demon King Palace came to help because of the Purple Fairy. Immortal Lan Lei's arm was shattered, and blood splashed all over the void. He tilted his head and looked at the Demon Clan experts coming from afar, looking shocked and angry. Demon King Palace, you kill? A cold voice resounded through the 9 heavens, interrupting Immortal Lan Lei's words. Far away, the first Grand Elder of the Demon King Palace made his move. His demonic aura was mighty, and he stepped in front of Immortal Lan Lei. This was a burly old man with golden hair. His eyes contained endless demonic light, and his aura was very frightening. Boom! A huge demonic shadow appeared behind this person. It was a golden lion, and its head reached the heavens and the earth. As soon as it appeared, it roared toward the heavens, as if it was real. It directly pounced toward Reverend Lan Lei, shaking the 8 desolates. This attack was a little terrifying, and it made Immortal Lan Lei's face turn pale. He was severely injured by the little Taichu and almost died. He did not have much divine power left. At this time, facing such a violent and destructive attack, his back instantly turned cold. He could not help but shout, "Stop! What are you doing? Die!" The first Supreme Elder of the Demon Emperor Palace coldly shouted, interrupting Reverend Lan Lei's words once again. With a pu sound, the golden lion crushed Reverend Lan Lei into pieces. At the same time, the space between the golden lion's eyebrows split open and a third eye appeared. A beam of light shot out and shattered Reverend Lan Lei's sovereign soul. Destruction of body and soul. This killed that Reverend Lan Lei. Demon Imperial Palace. In the distance, the cultivators were shocked. The 3 Grand Elders of the Demon Imperial Palace appeared, led by the first Grand Elder. In the blink of an eye, they appeared in front of Lin Tian. Lord Lin. The 3 of them bowed in respect. Even though their cultivations were far higher than Lin Tian's, and they hadn't lived as long as Lin Tian, they were still extremely respectful towards Lin Tian. Lord Demon Emperor is unable to leave for the time being, so he ordered us to come and protect you. In the distance, the cultivators were shocked again. The 3 Emperor-level figures of the Demon Imperial Palace were actually bowing to Lin Tian. Lin Tian knew that the 3 Grand Elders of the Demon Imperial Palace were treating him like this because of the Violet Fairy, but he didn't act arrogantly. Seniors, please don't be like this. This junior can't afford it. Lord Lin is the brother of our Demon Emperor. We should pay our respects. The first Grand Elder of the Demon Imperial Palace said seriously. Lord Lin deserves it. The other 2 Grand Supreme Elders also spoke. Of the 3 of them, the first Grand Elder had blonde hair, the second Grand Elder wore purple armor, and the third Grand Elder wore a brocade robe. All of them had a strong demonic aura. When they received the Demon Emperor's order in the Demon Imperial Palace, they were extremely shocked. The invincible emperor of their lineage had disappeared for more than 10,000 years, and now he had an elder brother. Moreover, he was a human. However, although they were very surprised and confused, they didn't think too much about it. This was because this elder brother was recognized by the Demon Emperor. He was someone that the Demon Emperor respected and cared for. As such, how could they, as subordinates, be disrespectful to Lin Tian? Being disrespectful to Lin Tian was disrespectful to the Demon Emperor. Boom! In front of them, divine energy vibrated, and the space in all directions trembled. The little Taichu's body was surrounded by 6 divine lights. He was fighting against 9 alone, but at this moment, he was forced to retreat continuously, and his body was trembling. Lin Tian looked in front of him, clenched his fist, and looked at the 3 Grand Elders of the Demon Clan. Seniors, please help. At this moment, the little guy was being attacked by the 9 Old Emperors. He was already at a disadvantage, and he was really worried. Of course, Lord Lin, don't worry. The first Grand Elder of the Demon Imperial Palace said. As soon as he finished speaking, this person stepped forward and instantly entered the battlefield. The Demon Clan's great technique was immediately used. At the same time, the other 2 Grand Elders of this lineage also attacked together. The mighty Demon Emperor stepped forward. These 3 people were very powerful. As soon as they moved, their demon aura instantly surged and attacked the 9 emperors that little Taichu was blocking at the same time. Demon Imperial Palace, what are you trying to do? Why are you helping him? Are you trying to make all of us your enemy? The 9 emperors' eyes were cold. You are targeting our elder brother, the Demon Emperor, and trying to seize the reincarnation origin. What do you think we were trying to do? The first Grand Elder of the Demon Clan said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a rumble, and a golden lion appeared behind this person again. Shocking demon aura surged. At the same time, the other 2 Grand Elders of the Demon Imperial Palace also used their great technique, enveloping the 9 emperors together. Boom! Immediately, the greater void trembled and cracks appeared one after another. He, the first Grand Elder of the Demon Clan, what did he say? Reincarnation body, that Lin Tian, is the elder brother of the Demon Emperor. How is this possible? The Demon Emperor is the great emperor of the Demon Clan and has been famous since ancient times. As for the reincarnation body, he is from this generation. Moreover, he is from the human race. How could he be the elder brother of the Demon Emperor? Far away, the group of cultivators were shocked. Demon Master Luo Yu was surrounded by dark light. He stared coldly at the 3 Grand Elders of the Demon Clan and said, "Nonsense. The reincarnation body is from the human race and has nothing to do with the great emperors of the Demon Clan. What is the Demon Imperial Palace planning?" The first Grand Elder of the Demon Imperial Palace snorted and ignored Demon Master Luo Yu's words. At the same time, the demon aura on his body grew stronger. He raised his hand and punched towards Demon Master Luo Yu. As the eternal Demon Emperor punched, the golden lion mystique behind him followed suit. Boom! This person was no doubt the strongest person in the Demon Imperial Palace. As he attacked, his demonic aura seemed to be able to swallow everything. This old man is very strong. He is at the 7th heaven of the Emperor realm. Wuxing Crocodile and Ling Yun stared ahead. Lin Tian looked ahead and heaved a sigh of relief. At this time, with the help of the 3 Grand Elders of the Demon Imperial Palace, the little Taichu was no longer fighting 1 against 9. He was much more relieved. At the front, the little Taichu was much more relaxed now that the 3 Grand Elders of the Demon Imperial Palace had joined the battle. He turned around and called out to Lin Tian in a childish voice. He looked at the 3 Grand Elders of the Demon Imperial Palace and then looked at Demon Master Luo Yu and the other 9 old emperors. He opened his eyes wide and stared at Knight Jingwu among them. Boom! The little guy flapped his wings and 6 different colored divine light shone. It almost dyed the entire sky with 6 different colors and covered the entire space. Immediately after, it gathered its strength and blasted towards the old emperor, Knight Jingwu. Previously, the other party called him an evil beast. He didn't forget and was clearly very angry. With a rumble, the 6-colored divine light turned into a 6-colored light pillar. It was extremely powerful and caused the entire sky to tremble. Knight Jingwu's expression changed drastically as he clearly felt the terror of this attack. He immediately propped up a sky full of emperor light to welcome it. Chi! The 6-colored light pillar rushed over and annihilated the sky full of emperors. Immediately after, it didn't slow down and engulfed Knight Jingwu. PFFF. Blood splattered and Knight Jingwu's physical body was shattered on the spot. Damn it! Knight Jingwu roared furiously. The blood mist that exploded gathered towards the center. He used his divine soul to recover and quickly recombine. However, at this moment, the little Taichu's body released an even more terrifying aura. Real dragon, immortal phoenix, black tortoise, and vermilion bird. The 4 legendary immortal essences appeared again and roared towards the sky. In the blink of an eye, they engulfed Knight Jingwu. No! Knight Jingwu let out a desperate scream. Then his voice disappeared without a trace. His body and soul were destroyed. Far away, a group of cultivators were terrified. On this day, the little Taichu had killed 3 Emperor-level experts in a row. The 3 supreme elders of the Demon King Palace couldn't help but look at the little Taichu. Although they had heard of the little Taichu's strength, they were still shocked when they saw the little guy kill Knight Jingwu like this. It's time for us to do something. We'll let these rascals know what the consequences are for having designs on our clan's Demon Emperor elder brother. The first supreme elder of the Demon King Palace said. As soon as he finished speaking, the man's aura suddenly rose rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it rose to an extremely high point. Then in the next moment, a pagoda rushed out of his body. As soon as it appeared, it exuded an extremely vast demonic aura. A primitive aura shook out and covered the entire place in an instant. This is the Demon Clan's most precious weapon, Demon King Pagoda. Flawless heavenly treasure. Far away, a group of cultivators were all shocked. At that moment, with the appearance of the Demon Lord Pagoda, the boundless demon might seem to want to suppress the entire world, causing all of them to tremble. Their bodies trembled incessantly, and they couldn't help but want to worship the pagoda. The Demon King Pagoda was forged by the first Demon King of the Demon Clan using dragon blood black gold. It's a peak-level heavenly treasure. Whooshing Crocodile trembled. It's terrifying. Ling Yun stared at the Demon King Pagoda in front of him and couldn't help but widen his eyes. Even Lin Tian couldn't help but be shocked. He stared at the Demon King Pagoda in front of him and was shocked by its aura. Boom! The Demon King Pagoda was divided into 9 levels. It was flowing with colorful lights and hazy demonic aura, causing the great Tao in all directions to tremble. In an instant, Demon Master Luo Yu and the other old emperor's expressions changed. At this moment, the first supreme elder of the Demon King Palace took out the peak-level heavenly treasure Demon King Pagoda, causing them to feel the threat of death. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.